America first really means putting its citizens first, right? The military-industrial complex, which has now brought us to, what, $39 trillion in debt. This is because of the endless wars. They want to be on top geopolitically. They want to be the empire controlling the world.
But that speaks to my point. What else would you expect people to want? Not to control the world or have the most influence? That's the goal of like a lot of Muslims too, is to build the Khilafah back up and have control of the Middle East like we did under the Ottoman Empire.
But not to oppress others, because they want first world.
I'm not supporting oppression. No, that's not what I'm supporting.
But that's what they want. That's what I'm saying they want. That's why they keep saying third worlder, because they want, the first world only exists because of the third world. They want to be the ones taking from others. Look at what Andrew Tate said about the oil in Venezuela. Take it all, it's our oil. We could take whatever, we could do whatever we want. Who cares about Cuba? Turn off the lights. Who cares if they're Christian? They don't see any sort of similarities in faith. It's only what they look like. And this is just Zionism for a different group.
Well, it's got to be for the people, by the people that are U.S. citizens, and you have to stop the immigration first. And this is why
they're not going to stop it. They pretend to be against immigration. They really just spread hate on Muslims.
I don't like Elon Musk at all. I've been calling him Julon Musk for a minute. Like, he pulled all my shit because I said the H-1B visa is a scam, that literally, which it is. But he employs all those people, so I see your perspective.
Exactly.
He's a wild hypocrite.
Exactly. And this is what capitalism incentivizes. They are not ever going to stop. The immigration is just going to continue. Trump's appointed Supreme Court justice. What did he do? He blocked the changing of the birthright citizenship. The people that pretend to be anti-immigration, they'll use anti-Islamic rhetoric to make people believe, the white populist movement believe, that they're really on their side, and they're not. It's not going to stop. Like, nobody on the right wing, or especially on the left wing, because they love immigrants, no one is going to stop the mass immigration. It's over.
Doing? How you been?
Good, man. Alhamdulillah, just got back from Steinway. Algeria lost, unfortunately. Your African brothers over there.
How many jerseys you got, bro?
I'm supporting the Ummah. I gotta support the Ummah, bro. We got a lot of Muslim teams. Fire. You know, it's one Ummah, so I'll support my Muslim brothers, man. It's nationality is one thing, but faith transcends that. So it's good to see. You know, it's good to see the unity.
Yo,
right
we were just speaking of the Ummah. We were talking about how Israel's trying to fracture the Ummah. They're going after Syria now and stuff. And the Golan Heights, trying to annex it. We were talking about Druze. So much like insider lore. You know, kind of like all the fragmented sects in Syria and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if you've been keeping up with that. What were your thoughts? Obviously, the war in Iran is stale, kind of, but you know, the situation in Lebanon continues to be bad. It's just getting worse and worse.
Well, just wait for July 22nd. You're going to get a lot more content when the Iran war is back on.
What's this? So tell Myron about what's this prediction. Go ahead. You said that July 22nd. It's a Israeli or Jewish holiday. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they have always escalated the war on Jewish holidays, and it's coincided with Ramadan, the beginning of Ramadan. With Eid, there were major strikes. The war was really at its peak during Ramadan. So July 22nd is a Jewish holiday. It's called Tisha B'Av. Let me share my screen and show you, because I think it's even theological. I think it's going to make sense, because it's this is the commemoration of, let's see. This is the saddest day on the Jewish calendar. It culminates, it's 3 weeks, a 3-week period, so probably Epic Fury 2. Period of time which we mark the destruction of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem.
Oh, this is when Ben Gvir goes up to the Temple Mount, Riyadh. This is the day that he goes up, when he goes up to the Temple Mount to agitate.
When he does his little, okay.
Pray. Yeah.
Interesting.
He's coming to New York, right? I think he's going to come to New York July 7th.
Yeah. I'll show you real quick. I made a whole tweet about this shit.
Should we pull up on him and say what's up, SNEAKO? Collab?
I'm going to Malaysia with Professor Jang, just confirmed. I would love to. I actually wanted to. I'm a little disappointed I'm not going to be in New York for that, because I actually would.
No, that's fine. No, that's good. Give me the IRL setup. I'll confront him.
So I go, as a former Fed, proudly served this country, I believe Ben Gvir should be arrested the moment he lands in NYC under his watch as National Security Minister, which, by the way, I don't think people understand how much motion this guy has in Israel, bro. This dude is basically the functional equivalent of, like, the head of the Attorney General and the head of Homeland Security. Like, he is literally like, if you took like Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem at their peak, he is the combination of both of them in Israel. He oversees all the law enforcement in interior security in Israel. So this isn't just a dude that, you know, worships a terrorist like Baruch Goldstein and hangs up his pictures in his house. He also like has an enormous amount of political weight and power. And then multiple Palestinian Americans were killed by settlers in the West Bank with zero accountability. Saifollah Musalet, Khamis Ayad, Nasrallah Abu Siyam. So all these guys were killed in 2025 and 2026. And this guy was the one that was this one was, I think, the most recent one we got killed in July 2025. This is a guy where they beat him up and he could have been saved. And and they just let him die. He's from Tampa. This guy's from Tampa. Because I remember because I went to Turning Point USA and I met with Propaganda and Co. And I met one of Saifullah's friends from Tampa, and he told the story, and he told me a lot of details that hadn't been reported to the news. Now it's out there, but they fucking killed him, dude. And he could have literally been saved, and they didn't do anything. And this was like Israeli settlers and the IDF blocking what's it called? Ambulances from getting to him. So this is a pattern, and I basically put here, this is a part of a pattern where Israelis face no legal consequences for their crimes because the security minister refuses to hold Jewish settlers responsible. And then at least 9 Americans died in the West Bank since 2022 with no justice. So I think Gvir needs to absolutely be stopped and talked to about this because he oversees all the law enforcement in the country, and these settlers are never held accountable when they kill Palestinians, which a lot of them are Americans.
Right. I just debated an Israeli in Times Square yesterday, and what I often hear,
that shit went viral.
It always does. Like the street debates with Israelis, they always just do. It's so easy too because they have the same talking points. One thing they love to say recently, and we talked about this before. Go ahead.
No, I said, or they lie. Sorry.
They lie, and they say you don't know anything. And I always bring it up how Ben Gvir said all of Lebanon was burned. Also, Ben Gvir is a convicted terrorist. He was not allowed to serve in the IDF because of his terrorism. So he's hated. In New York City, he came in 2022. Even Jewish Zionists in New York City heckle and boo this guy. They hate him. I wonder how it's going to be now.
He had a picture of a guy named Baruch Goldstein in his living room for years, who is a well-known Jewish terrorist from the JDL that killed, I think, like 30 Palestinians during Ramadan in a mosque. Like, he hung that guy's picture up in his house. That's like, let's say you become let's say you get some motion, get some power, and then you put a picture of like Osama bin Laden in your house, right? Like, what's going on here, bro? Like that's what Ben Gvir is. Yeah, and the approved. Like they denied him. The State Department originally denied his visa, but I guess they probably did some backdoor shit and got him in. Probably a diplomat visa or some shit, or a diplomat passport. But yeah, he originally on like normal Secretary of State, visa standards, he would never get approved ever.
So what he said yesterday, this Israeli, and they love to say that it's not the whole government. They'll say they disagree with Bibi Netanyahu and Ben Gvir, but also use all their same talking points and still benefit and still repeat the propaganda of the Hasbara. What can you say, Myron, because of your background in Homeland Security, he's the Minister of National Security, said he controls the law enforcement. How much power does he have? Because we've seen him harass the flotilla protesters, and he's saying that all of Lebanon was burned. Is he a really important figure in the Israeli government? Yeah.
Dude, he has, like I said before, he literally is the equivalent of like an attorney general and the Secretary of Homeland Security in one. The guy has an enormous amount of political power. Like, people think he's just like a random extremist. No, he's a random extremist that wields incredible power, and he oversees all the law enforcement in the country. So the Israeli Federal Police, the Shin Bet, he oversees all that shit, dude, especially when it comes to interior security. So yeah, dude, and this is why like they need to at least question him. Like, bro, a bunch of Americans have died in the West Bank, and there's been zero accountability, zero investigations, like real investigations done into this. And you've been the head of, you've been overseeing all the law enforcement in the country at the time.
What about the West Bank settlers? Is he in charge of, because we know that there's a legal occupation. Andrew Callahan, Channel 5 just did a pretty good video documenting that. Is he in charge of these?
Just talking about
that. How is he overseeing these soldiers?
Well, I don't know. So because the thing is with the IDF, like they're military, but sometimes they operate as law enforcement. So a lot of the times what'll happen is they'll be there in the West Bank and they'll do a lot of the civil order. Like they'll patrol shit, whatever. But it's a gray area. And I think Ben Gvir uses the gray area to his advantage because they're not technically law enforcement, even though they behave like law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing about Ben Gvir, which is, I just wanted to say this really quickly. The reason why he's unfavorable, and this is not to say that most, Israeli Jewish people are dishonest or whatever. Like, it's just a greater point that I want to make. The thing about Ben Gvir and why he's disliked in Israel by a lot of the base, and Benjamin Netanyahu to some degree as well, is because he's super honest about what he wants to do. Yeah. For the rest of the Israeli national security officials or anybody else that has military representation in Israel, the thing to say is, oh, we're occupying the Golan Heights in Syria because it's a security buffer zone, or we're occupying everything south of the Litani River because Hezbollah is being aggressive with rockets in the north. But with Ben Gvir, it's completely different rhetoric. It's no, this is biblically written. We are going to take this back. The Temple Mount is ours. It will fall, like Al-Aqsa flood type propaganda. Like, his rhetoric is hard right wing, like full on Zionist fascism in a way. And so
the Jewish Power Party, that's his party, is called Jewish Power in Hebrew.
And I went to double check it just to make sure. But yes, he does have oversight of the West Bank. Because I see what you're saying. Technically, it's not Israel because it's occupied, territory. But he does absolutely have oversight of the border police under his national security portfolio, oversees the Israel police, including border police force that operate in the West Bank. So yeah, he absolutely does. So even though it's occupied land and it's not technically a part of Israel, he still oversees all the law enforcement that patrols that area, because you still need to have some semblance of order. So yes, still has 100% authority over it, and Americans have died under his watch with no real accountability, which is the biggest issue. But it's because they're Palestinian that they don't give a fuck, which, is the growing trend with these guys. Every time I debate them, it's like, they'll sit there and say, oh, it's not a genocide. Because their birth rate went up, or what do you mean only 3% of the population was killed? We must be horrible genociders if that's the case. Hey, your success rate does not change the fact that you still attempted or you're still conducting something. Like, if I try to kill somebody and I fail, it's still attempted murder whether I'm successful or not. You know what I mean? So just because you were successful at it didn't mean that it didn't occur. But by the Israeli standards, like, the population went up, we only killed 3% of the population. This is the bullshit that they use to reference it. But it's funny because, like, they'll kill 70,000 people, 20,000 kids, and then say, oh, it's not a genocide. But then they'll forget that they fucking did all this because 1,200 of theirs were killed. Like, let's not forget that all of this started because 1,200 people were killed. You can even make the argument it was really 800 civilians because 400 of them were IDF. So the 80,000 killed in Gaza, the thousands that were killed in Lebanon, the attacks in Iran, the Menab school, all of this shit, all of it, this was been done because of 800 Israeli civilians that were killed. But then they'll sit there and they'll laugh at you when you say 70,000 were killed. But they do everything because that 800 that were killed that were civilians.
Did you see
hypocrisy?
Umar Nurmagomedov, Habib's cousin, he tweeted a video of you debating this Jew at the college campus when she was saying, oh, she doesn't believe it's a genocide. And then you were comparing
him that.
Yeah, so Umar Nurmagomedov, I know you don't like the UFC, Myron, but he's actually one of the best fighters in the bantamweight division. He almost got the title shot. Inshallah, he's going to get it again. But him retweeting that is huge because he was just straight up saying, like, because you denied the 6 million there. And I even debated the Israeli yesterday. I'm like, okay, you're denying this. The UN confirmed it's genocide. He started pivoting to North Korea. But then they'll get upset. And even their state was created on 6 million propaganda, on the Holocaust narrative, on this being the worst atrocity ever. And today they deny it. So did you see Umar tweet that video?
No, I did see him retweet my video. Yeah, because I used the thing, and no, it's just ridiculous. It's just like literally like when I was debating dumbass Mato. Like, I still to this day can't believe people actually think he won that debate. It's like, bro was arguing with me, telling me that it's not a genocide. And then, you know what's funny? So I was telling my brother this. Like, it's like God was on my side because the next fucking day the UN releases a report saying that Israel, in fact, targeted Palestinian kids, because his whole argument was saying, oh, there's no specific intent. He did use some like stupid Latin term, solis, good chat. What was it again? Someone in here telling me it was like some solis, whatever, which basically is a fancy way of saying, in order for a genocide to happen, you need to prove specific intent. I was like, the blockade, destruction of infrastructure, does none of that count? But then the next day, the UN released that they were killing, that they literally were targeting Palestinian kids. So that fulfills his stupid ass specific intent argument that he was trying to make. But that's what these guys are, bro. Like, I'm like, well, you got all the genocide experts. Everyone is pretty much ruling that, yo, this is a genocide. Because there's been other casualty, high atrocities that have had less casualties that were deemed as a genocide. But this dude is over here saying, like, it's not a genocide. The only people that think he won that debate are like retarded Zionists that don't understand or want to sit there and play genocide apologetics. But it's like, it's irrefutable at this point. The only reason why it's not officially labeled a genocide now is because they're still investigating it. But when this is all said and done, this is in 2 to 3 years, it's absolutely going to be ruled as a genocide. It doesn't even come close. And then he comes back and he says, oh, well, it wasn't a blockade because we only stopped the food for 2 months. What? Like, okay, I want to see you go without food or water for 2 months, motherfucker, with a blockade. These people are fucking clown world, dude.
So how was it not confirmed a genocide if the UN just admitted that they're intentionally killing children, sniping kids while they're breastfeeding?
Dole Specialis. So his argument was basically this. He said it's not a genocide because there's no Dole Specialis, and which means basically specific intent. He said that it's warfare, and what the Israelis were doing does not constitute a genocide because it wasn't only targeting civilians. They were trying to get Hamas. So in the process of them trying to get Hamas and all this collateral damage, it does not, because he said there was no specific intent on the part of the IDF to kill the civilians. Rather, there were collateral damage while trying to kill Hamas. That was his argument, and he said that there was no dole especialis. And then I argued, well, bro, you guys have a blockade, you destroy infrastructure, you destroy all this shit. And then here's another argument he made. He said, well, the Israelis destroyed 70 to 90% of the infrastructure, but they only killed 3% of the population. I was like, okay, that's assuming that we have all the bodies dug up, but let's go ahead and say that they did kill 3% of the population. You still destroyed a bunch of the infrastructure. It's like, well, then if you're saying that they didn't destroy they destroyed 90% of the infrastructure, but they only killed 3% of the population, that means it's discriminate bombing. It's not indiscriminate. They were not targeting to kill people. But then I made the argument. I said, no, because if you destroy the infrastructure, you're killing the people slowly. Because just because you didn't bomb them and kill them violently with a strike doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to die later when they get an infection, when they don't have access to food, they don't have access to clean water, they don't have access to medical care. Like, you're just making the death slower and more painful. And what he was trying to argue, and this is what they do, these fucking Zionists always argue in bad faith. He's trying to say it's not indiscriminate bombing because only 3% of the population was killed. It doesn't matter that the infrastructure was killed. I argued you cannot decouple the two. But this is what I'm trying to say. And then I have idiots saying, oh, you got roasted in debate. I was like, bro, he fucking lost. You're stupid if you actually think that's a real argument. Like, but that's what they do. And I mean, you've dealt with these idiots too. This is what they do. They argue in bad faith and they remove certain factors. They never engage with the entire argument. They only engage with a component of it. And to sit there and say, oh, we only killed 3% of the population, so that doesn't mean it's indiscriminate bombing while destroying 90% of the infrastructure, it's fucking clown world. But they know they have no leg to stand on because killing children is indefensible. So they have to use fucking bullshit debate tactics like this from an optics standpoint, even though on the totality of the circumstances, they're 100% wrong.
It's all gaslighting, and one of their favorite tactics is to call you a conspiracy theorist. Yesterday, he was saying that, oh, what about Iran and the protesters? I said, well, Mike Pompeo, former CIA director, said that CIA Mossad infiltrated those Iranian protesters. And it was specifically firebombing, was assassinating, was trying to cause chaos intentionally. Mike Pompeo said this. He's like, oh, you just bringing up conspiracies. Like, no, this former CIA director said this. You don't believe it? And I bring up the UN report and he says, oh, well, they don't talk about Iran. They don't talk about North Korea. So everything is anti-Semitic. Everything is against them. They say you're just getting brainwashed, even though overwhelming media control is by one specific group. So the more this
too. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, they'll sit there and they'll say, oh, the UN doesn't matter. It's not credible. It's biased against Israel. But then they'll go ahead and use the UN definition of genocide. Like, and then they'll use the dole especialis or whatever the fuck dumbass thing that this retard tried to use. So it's like, when it benefits them, they'll use the UN. When it doesn't benefit them, they won't use the UN.
I want to see Ryad. I want to see you get in a debate. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, it definitely will happen, inshallah, at some point. Here's the thing about debating Zionists. First of all, look, all these pro-Israeli Zionists know how to do is browbeat us over certain things like that guy had brought up with you, like the Holocaust and things like this. Here's the biggest thing that I noticed these Zionists do in these Palestine-Gaza debates and all these different things as to whether it was a genocide or an ethnic cleansing, although we clearly know it was. They always talk about everything in ambiguity. Everything is like arbitrary, up for debate. Like, you can't really pinpoint exactly what they're trying to say other than like minutia statistics that don't add up to anything that actually support their claim. For example, you talk about high IDF. So remember, there was a guy that went on Tucker Carlson's podcast. I can't remember his name. However, I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about.
Aguilar is who I think.
Yeah, and he gave like several firsthand account examples of Israeli soldiers targeting Palestinians trying to get food, posing no threat. When they were setting up aid sites, and these Israeli soldiers would pose on roofs and shoot them in the back of the head, shoot them in the leg, shoot them in their genitalia at points. And there's like legitimate proof in UN studies of this. And like, you can source all of these things and they'll still say no, but was it intentional and discriminate bombing on certain areas? And was the infrastructure actually destroyed, or was it just partially incapacitated? And it's like, bro, the whole crux of everything is what Israel aimed to do is make the entire strip inhabitable. And in doing that, they were also ensuring wherever they saw Palestinians and mainstream media or any journalists weren't looking, they took them out whenever they could, however they got the chance to do. As well as the fact that I think the Gaza conflict has the highest amount of casualties from press release, from journalists. The most journalists that have ever died was in the conflict in Gaza. Why would an opposing military faction be so interested in killing all of the people reporting on the account firsthand in that land if they didn't have anything to hide, or they had these precise munitions and lavender and these AI programs that were responsible in killing the bad guys only without having to take out a whole entire neighborhood and carpet bomb it because Hamas human shield. But this is what they do, and they browbeat you about Iran. 70,000 dead, 40,000 dead. It went to 30,000 a few years ago or a few months ago. Now it's 70,000. I think it's funny. Trump actually made that jump because he's losing his mind. He has dementia. But they don't talk about Gaza. 70,000 confirmed dead in Gaza. Likely after everything is said and done with, it's going to be six-figure plus death count. So, you know, it's always in their favor when they talk about these things. Another thing, too, is now they're genuinely having, and we spoke about this the other day, SNEAKO, on the phone. It is scary because they are so defensive. They still have the same amount of influence, and where you can't talk about them the way they can talk about you. And they have the most control they ever had. No one is paying attention to what's happening in Sudan. And what's happening in Sudan is the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. And the UAE is behind all of it. The RSF funds the UAE funds the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, that have genocided Sudanese people, the largest ethnic cleansing, millions displaced, hundreds of thousands dead, al-Fashid genocide, all of that. Libya as well. There was a leader who was killed in Libya who was in opposition to UAE related power. And now I believe the guy's name is Haftar. He's backed by the UAE and Russian forces. He's also going to take control in Libya. And I believe Israel has their footprints all over that as well. And so, like, not only are they earning influence in southern Lebanon, in the Golan Heights, in Gaza, in the West Bank, which they're going to eventually annex, because no mainstream country with any legitimate power that's worth being respected is going to call it out. But they're also presenting some sort of, you know, antagonistic behavior in North Africa too. And so they have all this influence, and it's at the same time that they've also propped up the media campaign to the point where you simply saying something as factual as the Gaza situation as a genocide earned you a 40-minute debate. You know, so it's just, that's why, like, I get nauseated by these Zionists. It's like they don't even deserve the conversation, you know, but it is what it is.
It's just like, what's the simple way to explain the Sudanese genocide? What are they trying to get there? Is it resources? Is it minerals? Is it, because oftentimes Africa gets colonized because they want the natural resources there. What's going on in Sudan?
You wanna take that, Ryad, or you want me to quickly summarize it? It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, the situation in Sudan is very simple. For the last 4 years, the United Arab Emirates has funded a proxy group. They funded this militant group that flew in weapons through Chad, that transported all of these very highly complicated drones and weapons to kill and ethnically cleanse and remove Palestine. I'm so used to saying Palestinian people being displaced, Sudanese people being displaced from the capital, Khartoum, which is North Sudan. And then they started to mobilize and gain more influence as they took control of the areas that they had control of, initially being Khartoum. They moved to the west in Darfur, and then they also moved to the south in al-Fashir, and now they have a large amount of influence. However, the SAF, or the Sudanese armed forces, have been fighting them back and earning back influence. But the situation in Sudan, my brother can maybe be a little bit more comprehensive with it. It's as simple as a grab for rare materials, natural earth, gold being the hottest commodity that the UAE is looking to exploit out of the Sudanese people and the Sudanese land, because it is rich in those natural resources, oil as well. And they've been funding this group for 4 years, and they're still denying it, even though the UN has now created tons of documentation proving that they're behind it. They're still denying it, but they're supporting this group to remove all of this rare earth from Sudan. And as a result, millions of people have now had to flee to Egypt, to several Gulf countries, ironically. And so the situation in Sudan, I believe, is actually worse than Gaza. There's more people displaced. There's just about as many killed. And the world turns a blind eye to it because and the reason why is because it doesn't seem like there's Israeli involvement. Where there's Israeli involvement, that's what everybody jumps on. But I'd argue there's certainly Israeli involvement in the situation in Sudan, because the UAE and Israel are like this. They have a direct security access. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly do this. Go ahead. You want to say something, SNEAKO? Go ahead.
Yeah, quick. I saw that Trump's crypto reports came out, and apparently there's some transactions of almost $1 billion in crypto between the UAE leaders and Trump. Is this correct?
They're talking about, there's talks about the rug pull. Yeah. And yeah, they made a bunch of money, bro.
They invested into 49%. They invested 49% equity into Jared Kushner's son's big tech firm or crypto firm, whatever it was.
So it's a proxy. You could just call it a proxy for Israel.
So they're certainly an Israeli proxy. And that's the thing. They're power flexing their influence in North Africa, which also is beneficial to Israel. And by the way, Israel, since the clean break strategy in the 90s, has always had their eyes on Libya and Sudan. So It's everything that they wanted coming to fruition real time, and no one's like I said, no one's really like seeing this, but all the strings are being pulled perfectly for them, and there's no condemnation globally.
There's three names you just need to remember, SNEAKO, to quickly, because I'm going to give you the fastest summary of what's going on here, because it's basically a civil war, but you got to know three names in two different main organizations. Let me just share screen real quick so it's easier, because I've noticed putting faces and name is always better. So this guy, Omar Bashir, used to be the president of Sudan for a very long time. Hell, he was the president even when I went there in 95. What ended up happening was he went to jail for, all types of war crimes, etc. That's not really too important. What you need to know is that he put this guy Hemeti as his insurance policy to protect him. This guy is the head of the RSF, or the Rapid Support Forces. This is basically a private militia. Okay, Hemeti is an extremely rich and wealthy guy because he runs Western Sudan, which is where a lot of the gold is. So Omar Bashir brought this guy in as his insurance so that he wouldn't be overthrown. This guy, Burhan, Abdel Fattah Burhan, he runs the actual Sudanese armed forces. So he actually runs the state actors, the real military. So after Omar Bashir went to jail in like 2018 or whatever, there was a power struggle between these two, Hemeti and Burhan. And basically this created a rift between the Sudanese armed forces, who's the government military, and then the Rapid Support Force, which is a private military that was originally put in to protect Omar al-Bashir. And they've been basically fighting for land and territory and influence. And the Rapid Support Services are heavily funded by the Emiratis because Hemeti, the head of the RSF, gives gold to the UAE at a discounted rate. He also works with the Russians, gave them a bunch of gold. He was actually in Moscow giving gold over on the day that Russia invaded because they knew they're going to get sanctioned, so they had to get some gold.
It kind of looks like you, bro.
They always say that. This is how this guy basically has been able to fund the RSF. Also, since it's kind of like mercenaries, he's also sent them to Yemen to fight against the Houthis, which is exactly why Saudi Arabia, this is why, they sent them to Yemen to fight, and this is why the Saudis back the Saudis back the Sudanese armed forces, because the UAE supports the RSF, while Saudi Arabia supports the official military. And the reason why they support the official military is because it's in their interest, because the RSF are not aligned with Saudi Arabia. I think I have that right. So yeah, that's the general gist of it, man. So
it's like their Hezbollah. It's like their rogue military group, then they call them terrorists.
The RSF, yes, exactly. The RSF is basically a mercenary army that was originally created to protect Omar al-Bashir, but once he came out, then there became a power struggle between Hemeti, who runs the military, the private military, and then Burhan, who runs the official military. And this has been led to the bloody civil war that's been going on over this land. So that's basically what's going on. So the RSF versus the SAF, and they're backed by different, Gulf states based on their own, interests, because obviously the RSF is backed by Russia and the UAE, and then the SAF is backed by like Saudi Arabia.
What's interesting, I don't know if you noticed this.
You were right on that, by the way. Just to quickly add, Saudi Arabia has a vested interest in the local Sudanese government keeping control of the country. They're going against the UAE for influence. So Saudi Arabia is behind the SAF as well.
I hope that makes sense, guys. I threw a lot out there, but that's basically the conflict in a nutshell.
Okay.
To summarize, there's way more to it.
It is a proxy war.
But
it is a proxy war of Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They're fighting for a lot of influence in the Middle East right now. And so it is like Saudi Arabia versus the UAE and Israel.
Just to get their natural resources.
Mohammed bin Salman actually. Well, here's the thing.
Gold is a big one, SNEAKO. Gold. There's other resources, but gold is a big one.
Look, the world is moving away from oil slowly but surely. And so rare earth and gold and things like that are going to be a lot more valuable later than they are now. And so I think a lot of these Middle Eastern Gulf countries want to take advantage of that because they're going to have to move towards tourism for economic stability, and then probably rare earth as oil will pull away. But yeah, Mohammed bin Salman had told Trump a few months ago when they had met, when he came to the United States, that he wants him to start worrying about Sudan and help him militarily support Sudan. He wants to stabilize the home government and take their side to push out the UAE influence. I'm not saying he's like a great guy with a big heart for that. Of course, he has his vested interest as well, but that's that.
Yeah, but they're getting gold for super cheap. A lot of their gold comes from Sudan. And it's kind of funny because like the UAE has some like weird law where they're able to label the gold that they get from Sudan as their own. So they have like all these like, because they smuggle the gold out. That's a big way that they're able to earn the money, is they smuggle the gold out. So, and since Hemeti controls Western Sudan, where a lot of these, gold mines are, he's able to use that to his advantage and fund his military. And basically he's able to, use them in armed conflicts all across the world, like in Yemen, for example, which is the ops, obviously, of the Saudi Arabians. So that's why they augment Yemen, and then the Saudis support the SAF because the SAF is fighting the RSF.
You're right. They're moving away from that oil.
Sudan was on the clean break memo too, though. Like Israel's always had an interest in getting rid of Sudan as well for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah, Sudan has always been kind of like a rogue state. Osama bin Laden hid out in Sudan for many years.
Yeah.
Low-key, Sudan has been kind of like a roguish.
He hid out. They said he was hiding out in Pakistan and Afghanistan. He hid in Sudan too.
It was Sudan.
In the 90s, he was in Sudan. So when he got kicked out of Saudi Arabia because this all started because when Saddam invaded Kuwait. So Saddam invades Kuwait, and Osama bin Laden, who's still high off his W against the Soviets in the 1980s, tells the royal family, "Hey, I could defend you. I can fight Saddam. We can get him out of Kuwait," because Kuwait obviously borders Saudi Arabia, so there was a huge national security risk for them when he came in and he took it over in 24 hours. So they were fucking panicking. And they said, "Nah, it's cool. We got the United States." And Osama basically said, "How the fuck are you going to let Kufar defend Muslim land? You guys are bitches." And they were like, "No, you could get the fuck out of here." So they revoked his citizenship and kicked him out the country because I think he's actually like ethnically Yemeni, Osama, but his family's very wealthy. Like his family built Saudi Arabia. He comes from a very rich and affluent construction company that's responsible for like building all the infrastructure all across Saudi Arabia. So he had a lot of power. That's why he spoke to them that way. And they said, "No, you can get the fuck out." So when they ostracized him and kicked him out, he went and hid out in Sudan for a while.
So you guys didn't. The Fudl brothers.
That's what radicalized him, actually. That's what made him hate America.
Here we go.
That's what radicalized him.
What are you about to say?
So the Fudl brothers did 9/11. You guys sheltered Osama bin Laden. You were harboring terrorists.
Here comes the 10 IQ.
I knew
thought
it.
This was a high IQ discussion, man.
I knew it. The Fudl brothers did 9/11.
Sudan's all right, whatever. I'm not even going to entertain that crazy point. But no, yeah. Look, the biggest thing here is Israel's got their tentacles stretched real wide. Yeah, I'm looking at a stream. We just drew twin towers over both of our screens. But yeah,
what?
The biggest thing is Israel's got their tentacles stretched out, and they're flexing their power and influence. And the UAE is to be watched out. Look, I condemn the UAE all the time. I probably won't be able to ever travel there again as I gain more popularity.
Here's a takeaway. Anytime someone says, "Oh, we invaded Iraq because 9/11," you can laugh at them and say, "Actually, that doesn't make sense because Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden absolutely hate each other." It's like anyone that understands or knows, like, the Middle East, like, knows that, like, what the fuck, like, Osama was trying to fight Saddam to get him out of Kuwait. And that's exactly what led to him being ostracized. So when they say, "Oh, 9/11 was done by Osama bin Laden, so we need to invade Iraq," it's like preposterous.
Most people understand 9/11 now, and the pretext for the Iraq War, which people seem to have short-term memory loss, was weapons of mass destruction. They killed 1 million Iraqis, and they didn't find any weapons. They are using the same exact strategy now, which it's so obvious if you look, as Ryad was bringing up the fact that it's no longer going to be based off of the world economy won't be oil-based. They're moving towards a tech world order. They want the AI empire. They want people relying upon this. And when I see the same exact rhetoric being used to justify the Iran war and get people looking away, it's like, are you guys all, because most of them are boomers too. I don't know if you're friends with Steven Crowder, but this guy was chimping out crazy on his stream. He was drawing the prophet stuff for law, just trying to get a rage bait moment. Yeah, dude, this guy is like demonic 2 days ago because I was against the movie. This movie Citizen Vigilante is the most obvious goy slop film I've ever seen in my life. And everybody fell for it. And they're like, "This is so based and cool." And then they find out that the director made a movie called Auschwitz. He had Israeli actors play the women who got killed. That was super obvious. And I didn't see your take on this film yet, Myron.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it, but you saw the clip. You saw the important part. You saw the scene on Twitter.
So I saw the one scene I did see was like at the end when he shoots some of them. Yeah, I mean, dude, are we surprised? This is what they do. I've said this before. Like, Zionists have a vested interest in demonizing Islam so that they could go ahead and push, bad domestic policy, and then to push their foreign policy. It's like, okay, we got to demonize Muslims so that we can go ahead and justify all the conflicts in the Middle East. That's always been their playbook. That's been a part of it forever. And they've been caught doing this shit a bunch of times.
But they're all falling for it. Like, everybody in the right-wing space is still falling for this same exact playbook. They demonize Muslims. They don't understand that an attack on Islam is an attack on humanity because they will justify endless wars, destroy the economy, send troops to die using a propaganda against Muslims. And they still, whenever it's right in front of their face, is the most obvious propaganda. Elon Musk is amplifying it. Obviously, he doesn't care about immigration. He's an African migrant into America. Why would he care about European immigration? He's bringing a ton of H-1B visas. His entire team is all Indian. Trump is saying that he's going to go fight a war for India to defend them against Pakistan. They don't actually care about immigration. They are just pretending to get a populist movement, but everybody seems to be either repeating the script or taking the bait.
Well, this is why I've always been like, you know, foreign wars create the refugees that they complain about. Like, I keep telling them, like, you know, you guys cry about mass immigration from these countries. Fair. I don't have a problem with you having your grievances with bringing in immigrants. Fine, no problem. Well, then stop bombing where they're coming from. Like, because it's funny because like they'll bomb these places. Israel's not taking them in. We do. The West takes them in, right? So, and it makes Israel stronger in the process. So if you want to go ahead and stop refugees coming to your country, you have to stop supporting foreign wars to the benefit of Israel when Israel doesn't do any of the cleanup. We do all the cleanup.
But they make the same mistake. No, they're making the same mistake over and over and over again, right? They will support people. Elon Musk is a trillionaire who's supporting these wars, and then they'll pretend to care about the immigration when clearly they don't if they're giving H-1B visas. And if they cared about immigration, they wouldn't support the wars that caused the mass immigration problem. But over and over again, every single one of these base nationalists just eat up the goy slop when it's fed to them.
You're gonna say something?
Here's what I will say largely from what you said. I agree. Look, the problem with Europe is they see a completely different immigration cycle than us. Like the United States has, I think, a 1.3 Muslim population or something, like 1.3% of the country is Muslim. It's very small. And the Muslims that come here, like West Asian, Arab Muslims, even the brown ones, they assimilate very well. And what we see is like, okay, when they first get here, they have tons of kids. And then after that, they like assimilate to the normal American norm, and it's like one kid per household or even less. So the issue of like them taking over in the US is asinine. In Europe, there's a lot of them. Germany, a lot of Western Europe, they have come in these large numbers. And so there's been an uptick in crime in certain segments like SA and stuff like that. But these movies, like you said, are solely made with one political ideology stemming from like the far right to rile people up and kind of create this hunger of division. And that's why they're not allowed to show it in the movie theaters, by the way. A lot of these European countries had said that they're not going to air the movie because of how dangerous it could be if they do, and which is a good call because it probably would cause a lot of civil unrest. But
I think they should just,
what I will say,
they should have kept it out. They should just released it and like let it, because when you suppress it, it becomes stronger.
But what I will say is, that is true. What I will say is I don't think people are buying it like that as much as like, okay, obviously you have some people that are talking about it and saying, it does speak to some truth. But I see a ton of rhetoric on X saying this is Jewish. Like I see a lot of people like, all right, this is obviously trying to divide.
I would say it's really mostly Muslims
and pit Muslims and Christians against each other. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Muslims obviously call it right.
Every single nationalist fell for it. Every single one. I saw Tristan Tate said that he wants to star in the sequel. I saw Patrick Bet-David say this movie will inspire terrorists from K, but you should go see it right now. Great film.
Well, PBD is gonna jump all over that.
He jumped all over it. The other one, this other dude, he was also saying that it was very funny, that it was great, that it was good, that he liked, and didn't even know that it was Israeli propaganda. Everybody took it. Everybody on the right wing. Steven Crowder said he liked it. People who should be aware of this all took the bait immediately. And I think it's showing a hatred that they have deep rooted that I wasn't aware of before, and I probably should have been. Especially when you see, when they don't talk about Sudan or when they get Gaza fatigue, they don't want to talk about the Gaza genocide anymore because they don't see Gazans as humans. They don't see Sudanese people as people. They embody a lot of the same ideologies that the Zionists have, about being superior, about being chosen and everyone else being subhuman. This is why they don't talk about like, oh, I don't want to talk about this. Let's talk about America. Well, what genocide is happening in America? There's none. It just is really revealing the true nature of many of these people on the right. They oppose Israel not because they're committing evil. They oppose Israel because they're jealous. They want to be the ones committing the genocide. They want to be double tap missiling attacks on schools. They want to be committing the genocide. They're just jealous that somebody else is doing it. They don't actually want to stop it.
Yeah. Look, like I said, the movie is certainly like, I'm pretty sure the person who created the movie is Israeli, correct?
No, he's a German director, but but
the main actor
Well, Army Hammer got
at the end is Israeli.
Yeah, and Army Hammer got rape allegations. Whenever people like that, like similar to Russell Brand, they probably take a plea deal to stay out of jail. And now you're gonna have to do this movie if you want to keep your career.
Yeah, I mean, what it comes down to is the right wing is owned by Jews, bro. We know this, right? Like the perfect example of this is you look at like Nick Shirley does his thing with the Somalians, it blows up, right? But Tyler Oliveira exposes the Jews, doesn't blow up, gets banned on Patreon. So like that's really what it comes down to. In the right wing, they're fucking terrified of Jews, and it's extremely.
I don't think it's like, that's not all it is. It's not just terrified. It's also that they embody a lot because so many people. It's part of it. But a lot of them really do harbor racist ideology. They believe in racial supremacy, right? Zionism is a racist ideology. Israel is, like Ben Gvir is part of the Jewish Power Party. So if you are a white supremacist, you're going to be jealous. You want to call other people Goyim. You don't say like, okay, this is horrible. Nobody should be, everyone's equal under the eyes of God and it's about works. They want to be chosen the same way that the Zionist and Ben Gvir believes he's chosen and that one Israeli tear is equivalent to 1,000 Lebanese tears. That's why a lot of it's too. Yeah, of course they're terrified, but the reactions to the movie is very revealing about their true nature.
I'm talking more about American political commentators because
I am too. Like Steven Crowder, like others.
But here's the thing.
A lot of them are too pussy to call out Jewish power in America. Go ahead, Red.
No, it's two-part. First of all, like somebody like Steven Crowder is very reluctant to call out Israeli influence, and I think it's just because he's fearful of that. And others like Patrick Bet-David, of course, we know that, and he won't call it the Trump administration because I think he has hands inside the White House or Washington, whatever it is. And then also, it's like I don't have the expectation from these people to like really be humanitarians. I don't hold them to any sort of standard where like I'm expecting to hear that from them. I know what is right and I know what is wrong, and I draw the clear distinction in who's right and who's wrong on certain topics. But like, if I see these right wingers and I see people like, Elon Musk going crazy about the movie, I don't go, what the hell? They should be on our side, because at the end of the day, like people are always going to have their own vested interest in themselves. That's not a defense to them, but that's just like kind of what I always have as a baseline expectation. I'm not expecting people who are Asian or people who are something else to be hell-bent about the issue in Gaza. Should they? Yeah, because that is human. And I think that's what all of the faiths do teach. But I don't have that expectation of them. And so I don't feel like I'm ever drawn against them like, oh, this person is absolutely our adversary. And it's like, okay, I'm not expecting him to speak to that. And I'm expecting him to have the opinion that is congruent with what that movie is aiming to do, because that person comes from that faction, which is like always going against Muslims in any situation. Patrick Bet-David is like the main one that kind of comes to mind. So, for me, I think where we differ is I don't really have that, like expectation of them. And I'm not like disheveled or have this far cried out like grievance, like what the hell, why are they not saying the right thing? I'm never expecting that.
But the mistake is thinking that it's all of them being owned by the Jews, when in fact, look at the manifesto of the Mexican catboy white nationalists who shot up the San Diego mosque. They tried to kill a bunch of children, and Amin Abdullah stopped the attack. You read their manifesto and they're echoing a lot of these white supremacist talking points that we hear in America. They're getting inspired by the rhetoric they see online. There was 5 people stabbed in Scotland. A Scottish guy says, yeah, Muslims shouldn't be in Scotland, stabs 5 people. Osmongold responses, no, that's not bad at all. This is not bad. This is nothing, right? I really think a lot of it is not just... Yeah, bro.
Said that? That's wild.
Yes. Like, I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. And again, this guy, Osmongold, is saying, Bibi Netanyahu should bomb all the Lebanese. Get all the terrorists. Bomb all the terrorists. I think the misunderstanding is that it's all owned, or they're all repeating a script, when in fact, they genuinely do believe this. And it comes from the same feeling of racial superiority, and this is what Israel is. This is what Zionism is.
Let me say that. No, I get you. And I understand
here's the thing. Go ahead, Red. No, go ahead. It's fine.
I'll say it quickly. Look, to me, bro, maybe this is like totally opposed to how you see the world. And this is going to be a little bit crazy, but whatever, I'll drop it. And it's like kind of like our phone conversation, I suppose. Bro, to me, like, I look at people who look like me and I'm like, all right, like, these are my people. Or people who believe like me and I go, these are my people. So, like, I look at blacks, I look at Muslims, I look at Arabs and browns and I go, Muslims, these are my niggas.
What do Muslims look
like? This is my... Well, what they believe and what they look like. Like, these are my people. What quantifies my people is what they believe or what they look like in a way. Because I don't think that all sense of identitarianism is inherently bad. I don't like to demonize all of it. I think a part of it is admirable because people do stick together.
They don't think the same way
in that.
Look, what revealed it is when the Venezuela.
Wait.
Okay, it's a long point. It's a long point.
It's a good point, and I think it's important. So when I see other people do that, look, if somebody's saying, I don't care about the people dying in Gaza, they're a piece of shit. Like, or I don't care about the issue of innocent people being ethnically cleansed, they're a piece of shit. I'm not trying to omit that fact or like shy away from that. But I just don't know if I think it's smart for Muslims or brown people or black people, whatever it is, to be upset about people who don't look like them, thinking differently than them for the interests of their own people, even if it falls in line with propaganda, because that's the propaganda they're going to fall in line with. That's what they look like. Does that kind of make sense to you? Like,
that's what they're going to believe?
I don't ever really.
Right.
That's what they're going to believe. So I don't know why there's an issue when the cookie crumbles the way exactly it should. You know what I mean? I don't know how that would be useful of my time or beneficial to me to be disheveled over that. Because to me, it's like, bro, I'm worried about my own people and people that share beliefs with me. If somebody's like a white supremacist or somebody is an anti-Muslim or something like that, that's their lane. And for them, they're always going to say the things that are in opposition to what I believe in. So I don't see the good in fighting them. I see the good in fighting people that are actually like coming after my own livelihood or within destroying what I believe, which is people who are like from the inside out, what's happening in Sudan, like Israel's hands in Sudan. What would you say to that?
Okay, well, if they're promoting a movie,
of like,
go ahead, Patrick Bet David is knowingly saying that this movie is going to inspire vigilantes and terrorists. They know this. The whole point of the movie is to start a race war. Elon Musk is every day logging on X and trying to incite a race war. There's no debate about this. That's the rhetoric.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's winning, though. I don't think he's winning, especially in the U.S. Like, I don't think that rhetoric is taking any precedent.
But that is, well, look, there was a San Diego attack that just happened. 5 people stabbed in Scotland. So these people that are celebrating and pushing this movie out are trying to get people hurt. Like, this, terrorists are going to be inspired. That is the intention. So you're saying that this is not the main sort of the issue, but this is affecting the lives of people and maybe potentially everybody in this call. If people are going to be inspired to kill a Muslim immigrant into America to get people that don't look like them. And the difference is you're saying that you will see people as your own if you have the same beliefs. They don't think that way. Look at Venezuela, for example. They say Monroe Doctrine, the Western Hemisphere is ours, America first, all this stuff. Venezuela is predominantly Christian, far more Christian than America. None of them see Venezuelans as their own because they don't look like them. This is Zionist ideology repeated with white people.
But if that's the case, that's to their own fault. Like that would have not, like, why would that bother me? You know what I mean?
Because it can affect you. Because it can affect you.
In what way? White Christians not teaming up with South American Christians?
There was no. People pushing the anti-Muslim rhetoric is inspiring people. Like, there was a mosque that just got firebombed in England yesterday. This Iranian diaspora guy said, like, yeah, I want to end Islam here. I want to free Iran. And he's lighting a mosque on fire. 5 people just got, I told you, like, now attacks are starting to happen more and more. There's a domino effect.
Maybe, look, the political agenda by like the Elon Musk-esque movie, maybe that is inciting violence and sparking motivation in these people. I won't deny that. But what I'm saying is, it is in the face of all of the waking up and the mass awakening that's happening and all of the anti-Israel coalition that has been built over the last 5 years, it's negligible in the face of that. And that's the biggest thing. Europe is, and I really want to make sure this is clear. And I don't want to say I don't care about Europe. Of course, like, the whole world matters to some degree, but Europe has a completely different situation than we have here in the US. Like, Muslim migrants in Europe are doing different things there than they're doing here.
Right.
And honestly, that's a larger part of the issue. If somebody in Europe is pressed on the fact that, like, the whole country is Muslim and no one looks like them that walks around anymore, I'm not pressed that they think that. Like, what else would I expect them to say? Be happy that the country is largely not comprised of people who look like them anymore? Of course they're going to be fucking mad. But if those people can understand the greater good and building a coalition and understanding why that's happening in their country, I think that's a better use of, like, our time to speak to.
There's no coalition.
I don't know if that makes sense or that's connected.
There's no coalition because, as I explained, like, they're not actually anti-Israel. They're just jealous. They want to be doing it for themselves. They want to be on top. America first really means putting its citizens first, right? The military-industrial complex, which has now brought us to, $39 trillion in debt, $1 trillion every year increasing with inflation. This is because of the endless wars, right? They want to be on top geopolitically. They want to be the empire controlling the world. They want to be the dominant.
But that speaks to my point. That's what else would you expect people to want? Not to control the world or have the most influence. That's the goal of, like, a lot of Muslims too, is to build the Khilafah back up and have control of the Middle East like we did under the Ottoman Empire.
But not to oppress others because they want first world.
I'm not supporting oppression. No, that's not what I'm supporting.
That's what they want. That's what I'm saying. They want to be. That's why they keep saying third worlder, because they want the first world only exists because of the third world. They want to be the ones taking from others. They like look at what Andrew Tate said about the oil in Venezuela. Take it all. It's our oil. We could take whatever. We could do whatever we want. It's us. Who cares about Cuba? Turn off the lights. Who cares if they're Christian? They don't see any sort of similarities in faith. It's only what they look like. And this is just Zionism for a different group. I saw that Myron was going to respond to this. I'm curious what he has to say.
No. I was just listening to what you guys were saying. It's fine. Yeah. It's we've passed it, so that's
but like, bro, to me, I'm like, this is what I'm trying to say. This is more important. I look at the world and I see 1 million Sudanese losing their homes and dying in mass numbers because a cucked out Gulf Arab state is bending to the Jews. That's more important to me than like a white person saying, we need to take over Europe and we need to do what we need to do in order to like make the entire Western Hemisphere ours. Like that just doesn't bother me as much as like our people getting absolutely pummeled in the Middle East. And I think the best way to highlight that our people are getting pummeled in the Middle East is to continuously highlight the Israeli expansionist project and all of the hidden motives and all of the fruits of that expansionist project, which is ethnic cleansing and genocide of our people. So like that's the angle that I come at the world from. I get it. Like, okay, if these white nationalists are eating the movie up, obviously the movie has a huge, movies typically have like a very hidden political agenda. That one is clear. It's like straight up, that movie is fuck Muslims. Okay, we moved on from that. Anybody who's eating the slop up, they haven't passed the litmus test. If they really think that that's the greater message and that's all that you should take away from that movie. If somebody's smart, what they'll take away from that movie is this is obviously aimed to create a more divisive world, especially in Europe. But I can understand a partial grievance of the people in Europe, because if your place is being taken over or there's a large amount of people who don't look like you entering your place and maybe not assimilating, of course they're going to be upset. Not saying I defend them or I stand with them. I'm not fucking white. That's their problem. But I understand why they're upset.
Yeah. The other thing also to keep in mind is that, keep in mind with Europe, bro, these are all like socialist countries, right? So like for them, mass immigration affects them a lot more than it would affect us here, because when you have mass immigration, well, those people tap into the resources of your healthcare system, of all the other benefits that you pay a lot of taxes to pay into. These, Canada, Europe, etc. These guys are paying 50, 60% of their income on taxes. So for them, mass immigration is going to be a bit more, they're going to feel it more than we will over here because we don't have the same enormous, social safety nets like they do over there in Europe. So for them, it's like almost like, putting a lighter to gas. It's even easier to push it. So like, we don't have the same issues here in the United States like they do in Europe. But that's another reason too why I think they're kind of aggravated, because a lot of these European countries are basically socialist countries. They're where our Democratic Party here in America is now. Well, that's where they want to be in like 10 years. They're ahead of us within the DSA is 10 years behind where Europe is right now, and that's where they want to get to.
The grievances of the Europeans are being repeated here in America. Although the immigration is only 8% Muslim here, it's predominantly from China, from India, and from the southern Mexican border. They are trying to use that anger.
It's laughable when people mention like Muslims in America, because I'm like, bro, there's not enough Muslims in America to actually have this level of influence that they're fearing. If anything, it's really the Zionists and the Jews that have way more power, because they have representation in government, representation in tech, representation in media. They have overrepresentation in all the most powerful institutions that actually run this country. So when they turn around and say, oh, there's too much Muslims here or whatever, it's like laughable, because like they don't have the same political financial and motion that the Zionists do. Like, we don't have a Muslim lobby in America where we're telling them pay money to Qatar and let's go ahead and pass legislation that's like protects Muslims. Like, no, but we have an entire infrastructure built out for Jews. So it's more laughable here in America than it is in Europe. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they're ramping it up like crazy. Look at the rhetoric from Loomer, from Randy Fine, from other congressmen. What's his name? Randy Gill. DeSantis is going around saying he's banning Sharia law. Look, all these people got the script. Have you seen Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan is talking about how like Sharia law is not compatible. It's like, where is he talking about? There's no Sharia law being proposed as legislation in America, but every single one of the right-wing commentators are now repeating the same exact Zio propaganda.
This is why,
and they're piggybacking off of the grievances in Europe to justify that anger here.
Yeah,
I disagree with that.
They're using it to try to say, look, see what's going on in Europe. We're next. Oh God, like it's a fear mongering.
That's a part of it, but I disagree with that in totality. Like maybe there's a portion of that that's true. Trump is at war with Islam right now. He's at war with Iran. He's fighting Iran, and as a result, Lebanon is being attacked. All of these countries in the Middle East are being attacked. So what better for this administration, what better for the United States right now, any other time than now, to push anti-Islam rhetoric to motivate appetite and hunger for this war? That's part of the reason. I think there's a big desperation from the MAGA-based boomer Republican crowd to spark up anti-Islam rhetoric so this war can seem a little bit more justified, because at the end of the day, there's no other benefit for this war. Think about it. Nothing is actually benefiting the United States. There's nothing we can extract out of it. So the last thing that we have standing is saying, well, these are evil people, we got to kill them. So that's why the rhetoric is ramping up. But again, it's negligible in the face of the legitimate issues. The people who are going to own this country in the next 15 or 20 years are Indians, are Chinese. They are the ones coming in replacing high-skilled labor, not Muslims. And any person who's intelligent, who is actually smart and paying attention to the demographic shift and looking at metropolitan areas and how the demographics are changing overnight, will tell you that Indians and Chinese, and even to some degree, South Americans are taking over, not Muslims. That falls on its face. And I think all of the anti-Islam rhetoric that comes from even some of the bigger voices is shot down immediately, because that's not what people feel when they leave their houses.
Not really.
I don't think people are buying that up the way you think they are. You're always going to have your ignorant people that hate Islam and so whatever. But I don't know if like it's catching steam the way it did after like 9/11. I think that it's falling.
Well, that's the objective.
To how well it was.
That's their objective right now.
But they failed. But they tried that already. They've exhausted that possibility.
Right. If we continue to push back against these obvious lies, and my thing is, a lot of people are on the right side of this. Tucker Carlson is doing a fantastic job. He gets it. Anna Kasparian, she gets it. And some of these people, like, she's traditionally a left-wing person. Tucker Carlson is she, who else? Megyn Kelly?
I said Marjorie Taylor Greene is waking up.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes. Thomas Massey. Yeah. A lot of the people are really starting to get it. And I think it's transcending right-left politics, because look at Trump. Today he said he doesn't actually want to drive down the housing prices. He wants to drive up the housing prices. Most amount of corruption we've ever seen in any president from any term ever. Which is the crypto statements being released. He's openly just rigging the stock markets and using his speeches to change the oil prices. And my point is that people who have complete allegiance to the right wing, you might find yourself trapped and audience captured by people that don't get what's going on and just like hating Muslims because it's popular and because it feels good. And what's really what we should do is try to transcend past right-left politics, because it really just ends up supporting the same regime. We know the playbook. The right-wing politician comes in, wars, bomb Muslims. You get like George W. Bush. Then you get a left-wing person. They need to clean up the results of the right wing. So they bring in tons of immigrants, tons of immigration. And then the right wing starts campaigning and saying, oh my God, look how bad immigration is. And then they get elected and then they bring more wars. And it's just this nonstop cycle of the exact same system that only supports Israel. Now, Israel has so much money. Netanyahu was saying he doesn't even need to rely on American dollars anymore. I think that Tucker Carlson, Massey, and these types, you also mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene, people are starting to realize that the right-left paradigm, this is keeping you.
As well.
Yeah, Candace Owens, perfect example, that this is keeping you in a cult where they're like, oh, are you a libtard? You're against Trump? Oh, are you like a commie? It's like, well, I'm not a communist, but Trump's saying he wants to raise the housing prices. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. Mamdani's doing a fantastic job economically here. Disagree about so much of this stuff. He's chipping out at the LGBT parade. Some of the people are saying abolish prisons. That's retarded. But somebody needs to address the wealth inequality. But they're afraid to because they don't want to get called a libtard, because Michelle Obama's a man, because J.D. Vance is saying, oh, Biden fell asleep. Don't get audience captured and don't fall into a right-left cult, because many of these people, especially on the right wing, they want to kill, like they hate you. Like they literally despise you, and they are celebrating and laughing at a movie that is advocating for your murder.
Okay, I agree with a lot of pretty much everything you said is right, but I will disagree and push back, and it's okay. We're having a good conversation on there is no right and left. There definitely is right and left. And I think when you erase that distinction, you enter a dangerous territory. And I'll tell you why. They take that anti-Israel rhetoric and they use you in the anti-Israel rhetoric to Trojan horse to the finish line. And then once they get there, they go, remember the club, SNEAKO? Yeah, nigga, you're finished. Or they go back to all the things about, you know, what did you say about 1933? And I don't think that these people are really locked in with us just because they say, I like Islam, but I also like gay people. And I also think that fascism is very evil. And we know a fascist regime that we should never talk about and cancel anybody. Look, I get it. The DSA is catching a lot of momentum. It just happened in Colorado. Hassan Piker platformed some Ethiopian lady who won, I think, a congressional seat or something.
Socialism is here in the Democrat Party.
Dari Eliza, yeah, in the 13th congressional district in New York. Mamdani endorsing 3 people and winning. Like, the Democrats are catching steam. But I think instead of like being like, all right, well, look, they're doing it and they're kind of right on these things and they're more aligned with us.
I think Mamdani is the most powerful Democrat in America right now.
By far. I actually just met the lady that he endorsed. I think, I'm not sure who, but she's the Palestinian. I just saw her on Steinway Street like 2 hours ago.
Sorry, Ryad, keep going. I was just going to add, but I think—
No, you're good. No, all I'm saying, bro, is look, these people, look, there's an overlapping interest of anti-Israel rhetoric, but that should not be the end all be all. And the standard should not be so low to the point where we're going, oh, they're anti-Israel, I'm jumping on board. Like, we should have a little bit of a higher standard and a little bit more polished decorum if we're going to choose out who we want to support, because there's tons of anti-Israel rhetoric from the right as well. And these are the same people that are not calling for the death of Muslims, like a Marjorie Greene, like a Candace Owens, like a Tucker Carlson, like a Thomas Massey, and so many others who follow them, millions who follow them, who are white and who do support what they're saying.
I don't think you get what I'm saying.
Sometimes, I'll just finish with this. Wallah, SNEAKO, I'll finish. Wallah. I think sometimes you get blinded by like the anti-Muslim rhetoric. You forget there's like a whole party of people outside of that do not agree with it whatsoever. And there's a rising faction from the right or even center right. I know they're not far right, but center right that doesn't have all the commie socialism, gay bullshit with it, literally gay, like supporting pride, but at the same time gives Muslims their fair shade and is still anti-Israel. I think that's worth like acknowledging. I think there is right and left.
Myron, you gonna say something?
What I was going to say was these same people, like the reason why I don't like, because I know you say, hey man, we need to, unite with the people some people on the left. I don't think we can, because they're just, they don't see people like me and you as human, SNEAKO. I know what you're saying. You're saying like a lot of these right wingers look at us as not human, but these people on the left don't either. They look at us as Nazis. They look at us as bigots. They look at us as fascists. So they hate us as well. And we all know that the progressives are far more okay with using violence against anyone that has any type of— because the problem with when it comes to this situation, I'll give you a perfect example. Remember that California guy that, is all for gay rights and all that other stuff? He's a Zionist. What did they do? They chased him out of the fucking thing saying, you're horrible on Palestine, you're horrible on Gaza, blah, blah. This is a guy that fought for all their fucking rights, stood by them. They shouldn't be on sexual offender registries, all this shit, fought for them. But he had the wrong opinion on one thing, on Gaza. And what did they do? They fucking railed into him. So the problem with the left is they're extremely intolerable. So I don't want to align with these fuckers either. I would argue that they're worse than right-wingers. I see what you're saying. Yo, these people don't like us. They want to deport us. If it was up to them, they would deport us. But it's not like the left is helping us out, because they don't like us because of our political views, and they think that we're fascists and Nazis. So, and just like my brother said, you'll go ahead and you'll align with these people, then they'll bring up the club cost again. Then they'll bring up, the fact that like you listen to a German song back in the day, if you know what I'm saying. Like they're always going to use that against us. This is why idiots like Hassan Piker, they'll never unite with us, bro.
That's not my point. My point is not saying that we need to ally with the left. It's that
on all of us. So fuck them.
My point is not saying that we should ally with the left. That's not. I'm saying that we need to, if you actually want some change and you want to fix these problems, we have to transcend past right-left paradigm, where there needs to be. Look, the leftists are correct about a lot of things economically. They're wrong about the culture war slop. The right is correct about a lot of the culture war issues, but they're wrong when they support endless wars because they are nationalists who think that they need to be on top oppressing others. What I've come to realize is that, because Ryad, you're talking about the anti-Israel crowd, the left, they're actually the ones who are anti-Israel for the right reasons. They're anti-Israel because it's wrong, because they're committing a genocide. The right, they're just jealous. So don't say just like you need to be a leftist, you need to be a rightist. I'm saying both are incorrect. I'm saying don't have full, don't be audience captured by either side, because this is where you're going to find a faction. Real change is going to happen when we move past this, because they both end up supporting the same thing. And you think that the right hates you less because they only want to deport you and the leftists call you fascist. I think, like, especially when they're promoting a movie wanting to kill you, maybe you could rethink that. But it's realizing like what people's actual motivations are and what they're in it for and what they would do if they had real power.
If I was a progressive and I walked into like a conservative rally, right, and I set up a debate table or some shit like that, you could rest assured that they're not going to attack you. But if I went over when they do these ICE like protests or whatever and I set up a table, they would fucking attack me. That's the difference. Like the left, and that's why I'm saying like these people, like they're worse. Like, because if you don't have the right political ideology on everything, they still look at you as a Nazi.
Well, I mean, it was right-wingers who just shot up that mosque. We're all Muslim here. And same thing, there's people on the right wing who say that their fans need to rape, kill, and die for them.
Nico,
and then
but you're talking about, no, bro, you're talking about like extreme sides of both parties.
I am.
Like,
yeah, so is Myron.
Crazy shit. The far right, no, I'm talking about like the far crazy right, the ones who shot up the San Diego mosque, and then also the far left, which is almost kind of linear with this DSA party, also shot up like a Catholic school in Minnesota like a year ago. So I think more violence. And they do that regularly. Look, bro, either side, if you go far in either direction, there's always an issue. Yeah. Moderation is key in every aspect. But when you said earlier, I wanted to go back to that. You said the right doesn't care about Gaza for the right reasons, or the right doesn't call out the genocide for the right reasons. But like, that's not true. Like Candace has called it out and said it's a humanitarian crisis, and so is Tucker. Thomas Massey always shows sympathy. He has political power to go against
They're
it.
transcending past right-left politics. That's my point.
No, they're not. They're still right-wing because they oppose DSA. They literally oppose.
Like they're always the left is always going to say, well, you're a right-winger, we're not with you. Like because they're always progressing. So in order for them,
there's no capitulation from them.
Yeah, they're always gonna. They're like when I'm talking about this left-right paradigm that exists on that side is what I'm trying to say. So by default, we're looked at as not them. Does that make sense? Because they'll sit there and be like, "Oh, we're tolerant of everyone." Well, unless you don't have the same opinions as us.
Well, they think that on the right wing too. If they had their way, you'd be deported. Like you wouldn't have any sort of political influence. You would be sent on a boat back home. Like they also don't want you. They tolerate. They don't actually accept.
Yeah, but
I think you're like having a skewed perception from like a small bunch of people who have certain opinions. Like Trump is far right.
We can debate on the right. They don't do that over there on that side, dude. They don't debate on that side. We do it over here. They do it. Don't do it over there. Like a conversation like this would be unfathomable between some, some progressive motherfuckers. Like they just, because everyone has to agree, like everything, apartheid, genocide, colonial project, blah, like it's like they all have to agree and have the same exact viewpoints. Like if they're not in line, it's like, get the fuck out of here. This is why establishment Democrats are having to shift, because now the Democrat Party is shifting to socialism. That is the new wave. Get on the fucking train or you're out. So that's what's happening. And I predict in 26 and 28, this is the DSA is going to take over, because with them it's like you either have our opinion or you're gone. You're out the tent. We don't fuck with you. Like they don't allow for debate like we do on our side over here.
But it's kind of inevitable when you have somebody far right and you have all these endless wars and you create this wealth gap and you are only profiting trillionaires and then people celebrate trillionaires. Naturally, the citizens are going to need policies that swing the other way to correct it. It's just a constant pendulum swing. What are you saying?
I just want to ask you, who do you think is representative of what do you think the majority right-wing belief is in the U.S. right now? Like, do you think it's deport anybody who's not white and all Muslims are terrorists? Because I just think that's not what it is anymore.
The majority right-wing view, I think a good example from a streamer would be somebody like Osman Gold. I think he has the largest audience of a right-wing type streamer, and he is saying the same things like Muslims are terrorists. He was like, did 7 hours on the grooming gangs, and that 250,000 was completely conflated. Obviously it happened and it's horrible academic, but that estimation is so false. And they push it out specifically because they don't like immigrants, and they falsely conflate non-white people with Muslims, even though Bosnia is a far whiter country than America is. Yeah, I think that they want to have a ethno-state, just like Israel. I think that they don't want non-whites. I think that they would want to like have remigration. They're very public about this, even though it's never going to happen in Europe. And I think they only want one religion. I think they want a theocracy. I think they want fascism. I don't think they want freedom of religion. I don't think they really want freedom of speech. I think they want it rights just for them. And I think they are jealous of Israel and want that for themselves.
That's not Osman Gold.
I could see
that is
what you're saying. I think Osman Gold just is like a Fox News repeater. He gives all the Fox News takes. The boomer, but like a lot, he gets by chat all the time for shilling for the Jews, though.
You're completely disregarding like Carlson's influence. Like Tucker Carlson is gargantuous. Like he's huge. Pause. And like a lot of the people that watch him are actually older. Like, he doesn't even have this young audience like that. Same thing. Candace has like all the moms, and she has a huge reach as well. Thomas Massie being unseated was a big deal and woke a lot of people up to how much influence AIPAC has and how Trump moved in unison with them. So I think there's a part of the right.
You're supporting my point.
There's a party, which is good. They're making a third party, which I would probably, us three would probably align more with. But it's still going to be considered right wing, SNEAKO. Like, it's still going to be
right. That's what I'm saying. It's not, bro. It is still right and left.
It's going to exist, bro, because these motherfuckers don't look at us as them. They'll never be in account with us.
Forget the foreign
Neither does the
right
wing. They want you deported. I mean, and I think if you ask Tucker, Candace, Massie,
true, bro. Okay,
but you don't think that these people want you deported and want you out and don't want you in some sort of influence, and they don't want Muslims in America?
Sure, some will, but a lot of them are far more moderate on this topic than people on the left that you're agreeing. Like, I'd rather be with someone from the far right than someone from the far left. Like, on the far right, they can have their views or whatever, but on the far left, they legit want to kill me. They want me gone. I'm a bigot. I hate women. I'm a misogynist. Like, they want me dead. Here they might say, well, maybe we need to deport them or you could stay. But like, on the left, they want me dead, bro. I don't have to worry about getting sniped by a fucking right winger. I'm gonna get sniped by a left wing person.
Well, if you go into if you were walking into the San Diego Mosque that day, that could have been you. What are you saying, Ryad?
SNEAKO, you have the perception that like being right wing and not being white means like you're on your knees sucking white dick. I just don't think that's true. I don't think that's true whatsoever. Is that what you're insinuating? Because I just want to simplify this. Because if that's the case, then that's completely wrong.
Yeah, and by extension, you know how the people always say like Indians are a Jewish bioweapon?
Because Islam is a right-wing religion. And it's pretty brown.
I mean, Islam is capitalist and socialist at the same time. It allows for free market, but it also has correct charity and it corrects things the way it should be.
Women shouldn't leave their house.
No, Islam is neither. Islam is
right wing.
Dude, the right wingers want the Roman Empire. I just talked to Richard Spencer. He's saying he wants men to look at his wife's cleavage.
Want a new khilafah. We want the Mahdi.
Their idea of conservative values is not conservative values. It's the Roman Empire. It's a white ethno-state. It has nothing to do with actual conservatism. Why do you think they hate about? Bro, Ryad, they hate the hijab.
Go.
The people on the right hate the hijab more than they hate their women on OnlyFans. At the UFC White House card, there's women half naked twerking. This is the conservative right. Conservative values. Oh, these women in Islam, they're so oppressed. Right wingers say this. Women are covering up, and they think that that's wrong.
Okay, you're looking at people. I'm talking about the actual definitions of what I'm talking about. Conservative.
That's my point.
Is women being promiscuous? Is women being promiscuous conservative?
Yes.
Is that conservative?
Yes.
No, it's not. You don't understand.
No, not promiscuous. Sorry, not promiscuous. Covered up. I misunderstood. Yeah, promiscuous is left wing.
That's what I'm saying.
Not being promiscuous is conservative. Correct. Ryad, listen for a second. The people who identify as conservative and right wing don't follow that. Their idea of conservative values is their nation first, oppressing others. Their values first. And their religion is not Christianity. Their religion is liberalism. It comes from the Enlightenment era. It comes from European development, Greek mythology intertwined with some semblance of Jesus sometimes. Roman paganism and Zeus.
I don't think that makes... I understand that's an existing belief and faction out of the right wing. I'm well aware, SNEAKO. I don't think that encompasses a majority of what white people believe in the United States. And I don't think that being conservative while not being white necessitates your sucking white cock. I think that it's actually impossible to be left-leaning because the left has become unreasonable, which is why most people are not Democrats after the Obama administration, because now they're cutting their dicks off and running around saying, if you ever make a joke about anything prior to 1940, you deserve to be stoned to death. Like, the left is also extreme and unacceptable in many ways. So when you say a third party, I'm like, okay, he's cooking. Right. But then when you insinuate,
I'm saying get rid of right and left. I'm saying get rid of this this right left paradigm and transcend that. I think Tucker, Candace, Massie, these people would agree. The pretext for the Iran war was Trump needed to free the women of Iran of their oppressive hijab. And MAGA accounts are posting videos of women stripping of their burqa to now be free. Tommy Robinson protests in the UK. The far right. The far right. What are they doing? They get Parisian women, the French women, and they take off a burqa and they show how naked they are. Because this is
Muslims.
Yes, they do. But also Western values and the idea of conservative Western values is not conservative at all. It's women being free. It's women being open. Yeah. It is feminism. The point, right wingers are as liberal as the people they complain about. They just don't even know it. They're brainwashed.
But okay, SNEAKO, you did it again. You're not talking about a majority of right wingers.
Name one white right winger who is okay with the hijab.
Tucker Carlson.
He transcends right and left, and he would tell you that if you asked him.
No, he doesn't. He's literally Republican. He's literally right. He said he's leaving this current GOP, but he is Republican. Bro, this nigga lives in Maine, gang. He lives in Maine, bro.
Isn't that a left state? That's a left state.
Let me get this off.
That's a left state.
Get this off. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Thomas Massey. There's another one that I can't remember. Even Megyn Kelly at this point to some degree. Marjorie Greene, and there's more that are smaller. They're all clearly right-wing, and what necessitates them being right-wing is opposing this new DSA Democratic coalition that's now being built on the left. They oppose that strongly. They've condemned it, all of them on X, but they're all right-wing, and we know that because they've condemned this, but at the same time, they are sympathetic and tolerant of Islam, and they still support conservative values without believing that women wearing hijab is them also being browbeaten and oppressed to death. Like, all of these things do exist simultaneously. They are not mutually exclusive. I think you're like trying to narrow it down, like Greco-Roman wants to kill every fucking Muslim philosophy, Americanism supersedes Christ. And it's like, bro, but that's not the right wing in the US. And what is growing rapidly and at the largest rate is the coalition I just explained to you.
We're kind of agreeing, but it seems like you disagree. Yeah, it's a new coalition. So
we're not agreeing because you keep going. The right is
no. But you just said, hold on, before you continue.
Interventionist. You're misrepresenting the right.
It is
what I'm trying to tell you.
But your definition of right wing, we just got to get rid of these labels. They're so stupid, and they just keep you in factions supporting people who want to kill you. Tucker and Candace, you said that they're right wing just because they condemn democratic socialists. I also condemn so much of that. That's crazy. But you're not right just because you're against crazy people on the left. You're not automatically on this side just because this group says things that are wrong. They've also condemned so many people in the right wing. Because they condemn Trump so much, why aren't you considering them left wing? They
only condemn the neocons. They only condemn right wingers that have bad foreign policy. Anything else domestically is right wing with them inherently.
We keep define. Can you define right wing? So the right wing is conservative values, right?
Yes, all the people I explained. But you keep saying it's something else.
For the vast majority of Americans, right wing has nothing to do with actual. Because your idea of conservative values comes from Islam. It comes from Sharia. It comes from the Quran. Because a moral, objective morality comes from God and God alone. Their idea of conservative values is manufactured through centuries of a mix of paganism, enlightenment, and the Roman Empire and mythology, philosophy. It has nothing to do with anything core to what is conservative. That's my point. So you think right wing is what you believe in.
You said they when you explained that. When you just explained the right wing. Okay, who is they? Who are you talking about?
The MAGA right wing, these nationalists, like the Crowders, the Matt Walshes, the Tommy Robinsons, the Loomers, the Osmond Golds.
Those guys are becoming insanely irrelevant in real time. Steven Crowder's not nearly as popular as he used to be. Matt Walsh is clowned all the time. Osmond Gold is popular, but he's not actually like political. I feel like he's more apolitical, kind of neutral. Only retard centrists watch him. So I don't know if he's representative of like the right because he vaguely supports Israel.
Myron, who do you think represents the right wing?
There's different factions because you got the old guard, which are all owned by the Jews, right? You look at your Daily Wire and other, people. And then there's obviously the new school who basically, have conservative values, but they also understand that Israel's not our greatest ally. So there's different tents within the conservative party, right? Like nowadays. Now it used to be Israel's our greatest ally. We'll go to war in the Middle East for them. We will, Muslims bad, etc. But that's not really. It's diversified now, and then there's definitely been a split in the right wing for sure. So there's different factions within it, I would say.
Very true.
But what I'm just highlighting is SNEAKO is pretty much saying we're glazing whites. This is what you're trying to say.
Is that the argument?
Insinuation in what you're saying.
Well, everybody
we're inadvertently doing it. We're not purposely doing it, but it's inadvertently.
I was gone for a bit though.
I mean, all the major figureheads of this movement, they use white populist rhetoric to gain popularity. Whenever Trump's approval rating dips, he says something racist to get popular again. He's like, Somalis, they can't assimilate, while saying that he's going to go.
I didn't vote for Trump.
I'm not saying you did, but you have to listen to what I'm saying. Elon Musk is using the same thing. He's one of the most popular right-wing figures. Tommy Robinson is saying this. Like,
I'm not supportive of any of those people, bro.
So then don't be captured.
You're mischaracterizing my support. Nigga, you had a Trump hat on when Trump was elected.
because he said no new wars and he betrayed all of this. Like, if we followed his actual campaign, a lot of this would have been different completely.
I didn't buy it. I knew he wasn't going to stop the issue in Gaza. That's why I didn't vote for him. So, I mean, bro, like, again, maybe my right wing is maybe I'm the third party, I guess. I don't know. But I think that I represent a realistic, very large growing faction of the right wing.
And I don't think that's right wing. That's like, I agree with pretty much everything you're saying, but I just don't think that's wings, and this will keep you captured into factions and cults and groups that prevent you from saying the truth. I see a lot of people that think they're right are afraid to talk about the wealth gap or the debt crisis or the rent problem because they don't want to get called a communist. So just don't get audience captured. Don't get caught in a cult.
The problem is that, like, because you're talking about like the wealth gap or whatever, that's always going to exist in a capitalist society, bro. Like, that's just like, if you're able to create wealth, by definition, that means other people are going to be poor. Like, not everyone can have wealth. So like I see what you're saying, but like that is and I get it. Like on the left, like, you know, socialism, that's like economic populism, whatever. But the reality is, if you're going to live in a capitalist country like America, there's always going to be a wealth gap. So you're going to have to fundamentally change the entire structure of creating a living in the United States if you want to stop that wealth gap, because the wealth gap exists exactly
and
because
it's wider than it's ever been. The discrepancy has never been this large. There's trillionaires now. They're like people who say right wing MAGA. They're supporting a trillionaire. I mean, Elon Musk is pretending to care about normal citizens. He doesn't care at all. The people that are in charge of pushing right wing talking points are buying islands in Argentina to escape if there's a revolt. They know it's inevitable. When people aren't able to pay for their own food anymore, that's when a society actually collapses. That's when people go outside and protest.
Okay, so SNEAKO, you're not left wing, you're not right wing. So what are you? And who will you be voting for in 2028?
I'm Muslim. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. I'm Muslim.
So am I. Alhamdulillah.
I'm Muslim.
But Muslims are not forced to only just be Muslim and completely omit political standing in the country that they pay taxes and reside in. So after being a Muslim, which is first, alhamdulillah,
exists, SNEAKO. It's always going to exist in America. As long as we're in a capitalist society, unfortunately, the ability to create enormous wealth is also going to come at the cost of other people not having wealth, because that's just the way it goes, because it's a capitalist country.
But this country was created on the idea that the government is supposed to serve by the people, for the people. It's no longer that way. It only serves the top oligarch class, the tech world order, the Peter Thiels, the Elon Musk.
And so this is DSA going to serve us? Is DSA going to serve us, or they're going to serve poor people?
DSA is not the solution to these problems. I've never made that claim. You keep thinking that just because I'm opposing this,
but you're like, okay, so
what would be
you're against DSA. You're also against the like mainstream MAGA right wing base. Fair. I highlighted a very balanced coalition that's gaining tons of popularity. All the names I said, Tucker, Candace, etc.
I agree.
Okay, but though you can, I hope you interview them. Ask them if they're right wing. They'll say, yeah, I'm right wing. I'm just not MAGA. So there's over conflation here. Like,
and the misunderstanding is misunderstanding of definitions, right? Of what conservative values really are, which you established.
Yeah, but I think, again, like, there's this insinuation that, like, because you're right wing, you are glazing whites. And I'm like, bro, that's not true, you know? But I mean, you know, it is what it is. We've gone in circles endlessly at this point, but
I
mean, look, dude, you're giving some left-wing talking points right now with, like, you know, wealth disparity or whatever. But like the reality is that's just going to exist in a capitalist country. It is what it is, and the only way to combat that is you're going to need to basically effectuate some type of socialism or communism to stop that wealth gap, like that, because. The thing is that with capitalism, people are going to, your capitalism ends with your greed. And a lot of people are going to say, I want to be a trillionaire, I want to be a multi-billionaire, I want to blah, blah, blah. So it rewards people that are super greedy. That's what capitalism is. It's capitalizing on opportunity when others don't to make even more money. So the very same thing that creates prosperity also creates you know,
do you see the writing on the wall? Where is this going
for
to, how is this going to end up for the American empire, for America as a nation?
Well, all I'm saying is that you're making an argument that we need to fix the wealth, like the wealth disparity. I'm saying it's going to be very difficult to do that because capitalism inherently is going to create this wealth disparity because of the system in of itself.
So where are we going with this wealth gap continuing to increase?
Bro, the wealth gap can also be aided by capitalism, just not glazing immigrants and allowing a mass amount of them and then allowing them to have kids and capitalize off of birth tourism. Like those are things where if we mitigate that, we can prioritize Americans more and subsidize more things. And like that's an America first, like literal beneficial policy where if there is less immigration, then we can focus more bandwidth on Americans. It's actually that simple. But if these people take office, if these people continue on their momentum spree, then people who are born here will have the under priority. They won't be as prioritized. Well, that's very obvious. These people are very sympathetic to people who weren't born here. And as much as like that's, I guess you can argue from a moral framework, that's a good thing. They're good people, I suppose. That isn't beneficial for you or I. Like that's the
capitalism supports immigration. I mean, Elon Musk benefits off of mass immigration.
Immigration is not an evil thing. Immigration is a great thing. It's helped the United States significantly. But mass migration illegally, 10 million in like 2 years under Biden, that's bad.
People don't see the issue is that the capitalists who benefit the most off of this greed actually want more illegal immigrants because they are the hardest workers and they cost the least amount of money to pay. Their salaries are lower. They're going to work harder. Of course, they want to have tons and tons of people working for below minimum wage under the table. Capitalism supports illegal immigration because a small business or any sort of business is going to want to hire the cheapest, hardest working labor. And Myron, where do you see this going? If you don't think that, you know, this is inevitable.
I was just addressing your because you were talking about the wealth gap, and I'm saying, look, the wealth gap is going to exist in a capitalist society, just inherent. The way to fix it is, number one, so if you want to go ahead and stop the wealth gap and like kind of stop the bleeding as you're claiming, you're going to have to kind of take what I call like a hybrid approach, and we're going to have to be very right wing on some things, but then you can maybe be a bit more of an economic populist on some others. So the problem with the DSA and these like, you know, these fucking socialists is that they want to give social safety nets while simultaneously not handling the immigration problem. If you want to be able to give people like benefits afforded by the state, you must stop immigration immediately. You have to stop the bleeding because what's going to happen is you only have finite resources. So you must stop immigration no matter what you do. You have to create you have to have strong borders and an extremely ruthless immigration system that doesn't just let people in. So we would have to completely redo our immigration system. Once you stop the bleeding and the people coming in, now we can start talking about creating some type of institutions as social safety nets. And I did a whole like post. I think I read to you like my healthcare plan, abortion plan, how I would deal with it. But in order for you to effectuate these things where the government, for the people, by the people, like you were claiming before, well, it's got to be for the people, by the people that are U.S. citizens, and you have to stop the immigration first. And this is why
they're not going to stop it.
That's the problem is that like if you want to effectuate this stuff that you're talking about, stopping these gaps or whatever, you have to stop immigration first. So that only the people that are citizens get the benefits of said country.
They're not incentivized to. Capitalism is not going to incentivize people to stop the mass immigration. They pretend to be against immigration. They really just spread hate on Muslims. It's only anti-Muslim.
It does benefit
Elon Musk
them,
is a bitch. Like I've always said, I don't like Elon Musk at all. I've been calling him Julon Musk for a minute. Like fuck Elon Musk. I don't like him at all.
Same thing with Trump. Trump promised to stop the immigration.
He pulled all my shit because I said the H-1B visa is a scam which it is, but he employs all those people. So I see your perspective.
Exactly.
He's a fucking wild hypocrite.
Exactly. And this is what capitalism incentivizes. They are not ever going to stop. The immigration is just going to continue. Trump's appointed Supreme Court justice. What did he do? He blocked the changing of the birthright citizenship. Like the people that pretend to be anti-immigration, they'll use anti-Islamic rhetoric to make people believe, the white populist movement believe that they're really on their side, and they're not. It's not going to stop. Like nobody on the right wing, or especially on the left wing, because they love immigrants, no one is going to stop the mass immigration. It's over. It's over. Especially if you keep perpetuating this and the wealth gap gets wider.
I mean, the borders are closed, dude. The borders are closed. We've seen a huge reduction of people coming in illegally, so it can absolutely be done. It's just that, as always with Trump, everything is half-assed. You know what I mean? Close the border, didn't do the mass deportations, right? He just never. The thing is that he just does everything half-assed.
Okay, he closed the border, but he just said he was going to issue like hundreds of thousands of visas to Chinese students. He's going to bring way more Indian H-1Bs in here. He said that.
That's my point.
It's not half-assed. It's a lie. It's not actually stopping immigration. It's just closing the southern Mexican border because the tech nerds are from India and China. This is more beneficial to the Palantir, Peter Thiel world order.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that.
People who have the most money have.
He does everything half-assed and goes back on promises. But go ahead, Ryad.
No, the super, super rich elitists have a vested interest in immigration because they're the ones who benefit off of it. But it's us, it's the normies. And even though you guys are both rich, like still, I'm talking about like the elitist of the elites. They're the ones who benefit, and they're also the ones who can sway political outcomes. So, like, yeah, in a way, it is kind of over. But I'm just saying, if somebody really cared about this country and they weren't subverted, they could definitely stop the bleeding. 1,000,000%. How far-fetched is that? It's very far-fetched. But I don't think the answer, and the reason I'm disagreeing, I'm not trying to be a disagreeable homo. I'm just saying, I don't think we should separate right and left. I think we should understand there's so many different factions within the two and choose the lesser of the two evils if necessary. Go ahead.
There's always going to be, I see what you're saying, SNEAKO. The left-right paradigm is retarded. I see what you're, like in theory, I can see what you're saying. What I'm saying is that it's always going to exist. And I would argue it's always going to exist because the people on the left are always going to need to demonize us and put us in some kind of box, which they always fucking do.
So, yeah, and again, we could kind of...
Because you do realize, like, for us, like, we're all Nazis to them. Like, it doesn't matter if you're center, like me, you, Osmongold, you know, other people in the right way. Like, they look at all of us as Nazis, no matter what. Like, if you're centered, you're a Nazi. If you're, you know, and you'd say there's two genders, you're a Nazi. So to them, it doesn't matter. There's no you're all right-wing trash Nazis. That's how they look at it.
Right, and I would just be careful with that language of us because the MAGA cult has been completely subverted.
Do you believe in two genders? Do you believe in two genders? Then it's us, bro.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to.
But these are the most minor issues that separate people. People will vote for endless wars because they believe in two genders.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. It's minor for us, but it's a big deal for them. Didn't you go to like a Democrat thing or whatever, and they told you get out of here, fascist?
Yeah. They yelled at me and called me a Nazi because they're brainwashed. Like I'm not. But you don't understand. I am not simping for these people on the left. I'm saying when you use language like us, you got to realize that it's been completely captured by the billionaire class on the right to make you think that they're on your side and they're not. When you say us, you're putting yourself in the same category as Elon and as Trump. And those people are pushing rhetoric that's
just not true.
Bro, I'm telling you how they look. They all put us in the same box. Obviously, I'm able to distinguish the minutia between me and Elon Musk and Trump and you and everything. I'm telling you, these DSA motherfuckers that you went to the thing with, they look at us all the same. They look at you and they see no difference between you and Elon Musk. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. They look at you, even though you oppose Elon Musk and if you said all this stuff, they don't give a fuck. You're a Nazi. You're like,
but you're perpetuating it by saying us. You're perpetuating that and saying that and making people think
that's what they think.
But you also say that you're saying us like you're on that side. You have nothing in common with Elon or Trump. None of your rhetoric is anything similar.
I know that, but they don't know that. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. They put us all in the same box, bro. If you go to a Turning Point USA event, they'll look at like, you went to a Turning Point, get out of here. You're one of them. Automatic. Even if you went there to go debate people and you're a progressive, like they're going to look at it like they look at us that way. They're going to put me, you, Trump, all of us in the same fucking box no matter what. Because on their side, it's like, you have conservative values, even a little bit, you're in that box. We don't give a fuck. They don't care about the minutia details that me and you and my brother are discussing right now. They look at it like, you guys are all Nazis. Who cares?
Bro, the bar is low for being right wing. At this point, if you believe in two genders and like you believe in borders and law and order and police, you're right wing. Yeah. Like if you don't think that we should defund the police, you might quantify as right wing. So when I say right wing, I'm not saying deport the Muslims. Like I'm not like that's not what I'm speaking to. You know, I think there's a dishonest conflation there. I think there's so much nuance in that.
There is, and I'm saying this because Myron is bringing up an important point. Do you believe there are two genders? Of course, most people do. But so many average people will end up getting stuck in this cult forever because they're like, oh, Trump also says things about LGBT, but he's also saying that, oh, Hamas throws gays off the roof. It's like they use this to get your support, but they don't actually support you at all. So I don't want people to be having undying allegiance to people that they have nothing in common with. Right, and perpetuating that by saying us and I'm right wing, this needs to be let go of because it keeps you ideologically captured.
Bro, I get on here every day and I say Trump is retarded for starting this war, or Elon Musk is a bitch. Like I like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like a MAGA retard. Like these people, like I have my views or whatever, but like I'm not like I can think outside of what Trump does. But yes, I see what you're saying. A lot of people in MAGA are audience captured. And I do like what like MTG and Tucker are doing, where they're like creating another party because like the Republican Party, the GOP is cucked. It's absolutely cucked, and I do like that they're making a third party. But what I'm trying to say is, even though they make this new party, understand that all the people in the DSA, all the people from that camp, with Mamdani and Hassan Pikers and Kyle Kalinskis and fucking AOCs or whatever, they're all going to look at us as the same. Even if MTG and Tucker make another party, they're going to say, oh, y'all niggas are all MAGA anyway. We don't give a fuck. You guys are all Nazis. It doesn't matter, dude. That, like, these people are extremely intolerant. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
We understand shit on this side. They don't. We're all the same.
Bro,
to them.
they're going to see that Candace Owens was locked in with Kirk and immediately call her a right-wing fascist Nazi piece of shit. They're going to see that Tucker Carlson had a close relationship with the president and call him a right-wing Nazi fascist piece of shit. Like, so these niggas are right-wing until further notice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that.
And also, maybe we shouldn't write them off the same way that you're willing to extend an olive branch to so many people on the right wing and see, give them the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, let me convince you that it's actually, Jewish propaganda, these movies that are being promoted. I think you should approach the left the same way, because they're the ones chanting FAPAC. They're the ones at the victory rally saying FAPAC. It's not the people on the right.
I agree.
So
they're doing a good job.
They're doing way more active. They're way more active than conservatives, because a lot of these guys are younger. They're they're younger. They're have more piss of vinegar. They don't have jobs a lot of the times. They're fresh out of college. Yeah, they're far more active, dude.
And there's a different approach. I noticed this too, because it's June's over, and that's the Gay Pride Month. New York City, have you noticed that there were no rainbow flags on Target and Walmart? It was like there's the amount compared to 23 and 24, it was crazy. Like left-wing people were saying that we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your show. It was disgusting. Mamdani is the pro-LGBT guy, right? The Muslim who's also a socialist. And this was the least amount of pride that I've seen in New York City ever. And he's the most pro-LGBT mayor. So his approach...
That might be federal, SNEAKO. I think Trump enacted like a one flag only executive order when he first came in, if I'm not mistaken. He signed like 100 of those things. But I think he enacted an executive order, like a one flag policy, where gay flags can be put up publicly like that in certain places. I think that might be a part of it.
It's the least amount of influence that culture war woke. It's the least amount of influence that they've had ever. And the difference in approach is that Mamdani approached it with empathy. And that's maybe a better way to see it, instead of saying, no, they're stupid, they're going to call me a Nazi. It's like, well, Mamdani agrees with a lot of the things that we agree with, especially the most important issues, right? Not going to the Israeli Day Parade, saying FAPAC. That's the most important issue. We all agree on that. And instead of saying, oh, you're stupid, LGBT, you're retarded, he's smiling at them and he's like saying, I'm going to protect all New Yorkers, right? And by extension, it's the least amount of weird LGBT things that we've ever seen in the city. So instead of approaching it with like, oh, you're different, I hate you, approaching it like, okay, let me try to show you the truth with empathy, I think that's a stronger approach, and I think that's why he's so popular. I don't see anybody in the left wing call Mamdani out for being a Muslim who believes that gay people are incorrect. A lot of them are probably going to go to hell if they keep on promoting their ideology. Approaching it and seeing these people as human is a better way, rather than writing them off and calling them all insane. That's how you bring people.
It is the one flag policy. He signed it in January 2025. Basically, that's why that's why you're not seeing the gay flags everywhere, because Trump's executive order. But which is good, by the way, getting rid of that. Look, I know you like Mamdani, bro. I can't get on board with the socialism, and the other shit. I like the fact that he's not owned by the Jews. That's great, but that's really honestly where it ends there. Because,
but you're on board with the socialism from Hitler.
No, I'm not. I'm actually not on. What I said was that's one example of where socialism worked. But what did he do? He closed the borders down, had strong nationalism, etc. Mamdani doesn't push. These Democrat socialists are not for nationalism, bro. The chick that just won, I think it was the 13th district or whatever, she said she would wipe her nose with the American flag. These people are anti-American. They don't give a fuck about the country. They just want to go ahead and abolish the police, and they don't have any type of real strong nationalism.
Retarded. No, that's stupid. Abolishing the police is stupid.
Listen,
socialism only works if you're a nationalist, and we've seen Hitler use that model.
Sponsoring her,
you cannot do socialism. You cannot be a socialist while simultaneously, advocating for immigrants and open borders, all those other shit like Mamdani does. These motherfuckers are retarded.
Let's see the nuance in it. Okay. Maybe there'd be more national pride. The youth, more of them are starting to hate America than before. What has America accomplished with its foreign policy in the last 100 years that's been positive?
With the foreign policy?
Yeah.
Foreign policy, actually, not in the last 100 years, a couple things took down the
I mean,
Soviet
I've
Union.
been saying the foreign policy is retarded forever. So I'm not a fan of. I mean, I think that's one of the number one things we need to fix is our foreign policy.
America's foreign policy
interventionalists.
is especially bad in the Middle East. That's the worst. It's never been worse anywhere else except the Middle East. Yep. But I wanted to quickly say something. I agree, bro. Mamdani's funny. He's personable. He good speaker. He's smart. He's very smart. Say what you want about him. But there's just certain things I can't get on board with. And, that's what it is. Agree to disagree. I'll wait for the ideal right-wing Muslim Sudanese nigga to pull up and he'll get my vote. No, I'm joking. But I'll wait for a more idealistic person who's more aligned with me with these kinds of things. But it is safe to say that these Democrats are going to take over. They have a lot of momentum and everybody he's sponsoring is winning. And their anti-Israel rhetoric is winning the hearts of literally everybody. And they have more balls to talk about it than the right does. Nobody on the right has the balls to go against AIPAC the way they do. And the only one that did it got absolutely smoked, and that's Thomas Massey.
And they still kind of tip through it. They don't talk about, they're not going to talk about Jewish supremacy or Jewish power. They leave it as Zionism, right? So they can't even go all the way because they don't want to be called a bigot. So I get what you're saying, SNEAKO. They at least identify the problem to some degree, though they might, albeit identify from a humanitarian perspective. But the bottom line is that though we disagree and we both dislike Israel, they're still fucking losers. And I can't get on board with Mamdani and socialists because they don't have the critical component. If you're going to run socialism, you must add national to it. You must be a nationalist in the same process. Otherwise, just end up having open borders and everyone just
it doesn't benefit the people.
So and again, when I said because you mentioned Hitler, I was like I said he's one of the few leaders to implement socialism where it actually worked, but right. He had strong national
because there's no nationalism. Yeah, that's understandable, and you need that if you want to be successful as a country. But let's look at these people who hate America, they said that they want to blow their nose with the American flag. They see it as American imperialism and colonialism has turned off lights in Cuba recently. Now they're saying that they're going to go to war with Cuba, go to war for India against Pakistan, Venezuela. They're now IDF soldiers in Venezuela after they kidnapped the president for no real reason. They tried to have some more reason, but no one even saw it. Bombed 1 million people in Iraq, millions of people in Libya, or not millions, but many people in Libya. You have the support of the Gaza genocide.
It was millions. You're right.
It was millions in Libya. Yeah, but so what has America represented?
Syria, really.
And that's foreign policy, but even domestically, how has the recent American empire benefited its own citizens? They are allowing for more immigration. They clearly don't care about the wealth inequality. The gas prices are up. Trump is saying that he doesn't want to lower the house prices. There's less jobs than before. AI is replacing a lot of people's jobs. Now people are getting kicked out of school for criticizing Israel. They get their student visa revoked. You can't criticize Israel in so many states. So there's less to be proud of when it comes to the American identity than ever before. And we got to acknowledge that. It's not something like, oh, these people hate America, so they're retarded and stupid. Well, let's realize why they're even saying that in the first place is because this current regime doesn't benefit people, regular people at all.
SNEAKO, the fact that me and you are having this conversation right now and making money off it is why the United States is the best country in the world, bro.
Yeah, but these freedoms are going away.
Us being able to have this conversation in of itself and get paid for is why this country is better than every other fucking country. Yes, we have our faults and everything else like that, but we are the best country in the world. And I'm not going to fucking sit here and be like, oh, well, we do this or we do that. I don't give a shit about any of these other countries, bro. They're all fucking bitch ass niggas anyway. Who cares? I don't give a fuck about these foreigners. It's this country is the best country in the world, and it's given us a bunch of opportunities, and we don't even know what we have, bro. Let's be honest. We're on here giving our opinions, giving our takes, getting paid for it. Where else can you do this? Like openly like this? We can't do this in any of these Muslim countries. We can't do this in Saudi Arabia. I can't say that the fucking MBS is a bitch ass nigga or he's killed a bunch of Yemenis. I can't say that over there.
We have to dance around so many subjects here too. We have our freedoms.
I can't say in the UAE they're killing a bunch of Sudanese because gold and they're a bunch of bitch ass Gulf niggas. I can't say any of that. So we might have our faults, but we're still better than everyone else.
I just saw troops in Times Square. I went up to the Marine Corps, the U.S. Navy, asked them, America first or Israel first? Well, I can't get into politics. People are putting their life on the line to serve this country, and they can't even say what country they're serving. Okay, that's how controlled.
We're addressing that, bro.
The best, bro. He could have answered you. The fact that you were able to ask him that question and have these provocative conversations without getting put in jail, in of itself is why this country is the best.
The Miami Beach mayor said we are no longer welcome in Miami because we enjoyed a song that he didn't like. The freedoms are why this country is so great.
We're not welcome in private establishments. We're not welcome in private establishments.
He said we're not welcome in Miami. Word for it. In the news clip from the Miami mayor, he said
you can go to Miami.
I know, but I'm saying what the mayor said this. And my point is, these freedoms are going away. These freedoms are going away. It's not what it once was.
Okay. Can I say something? We're addressing that problem every day on stream, like all of us. We talk about these issues and how this country is sabotaged and hijacked for the greater part. So that's handled. But when it comes to Daria Lisa or any of these far left people who say, I'm going to wipe my nose with the American flag and border shouldn't exist and abolish ICE, things that are fundamental for the structure and the function of the country.
You're not people like that in government, bro.
That doesn't help anything. Like, okay, you're saying everybody in America hates to be in America. This is the most unfavorable time to be American. You suggested that earlier. You said all Americans are very displeased with how America's working right now. You suggested that.
This is the least popular America's been.
We're addressing the problem of that. I think like American imperialism and like us taking over certain countries, yeah, maybe there's a negative or a positive to that, but that's like not going to remedy all of this anti-American rhetoric. Like everything you're saying right now is like, I know you're not, but it stems from and it comes from the same place, like this anti-American rhetoric where we hold this vendetta against the country that we're born in and reap the benefits of because they do a little bad thing here in the Gulf of Mexico or they do a little bad thing here in the East. And it's like, bro, we're against all the things that don't favor America. How far else do we need to go voting for these niggas who hate the country? That's not going to help anything.
I didn't say that. I never said
is
that.
Not going to help. But you vaguely defended that lady, like making that statement that she would blow.
No, no. I'm saying instead of writing them out,
understand where you're coming from.
Just don't write these people out. I think Mamdani's approach was very effective. Approach these people,
anti-American, bro.
But I don't think these people really like the country, bro.
Yeah, they don't.
I think they're pro everywhere else except America.
Yo, he endorsed a woman that ended up winning that literally said she will blow her nose with the American flag. He used to say defund the police. All these people are they're very un-American. Mamdani, that's what I'm trying to tell you. These socialists don't give a fuck about the United States. Like they don't. A lot of these people that are coming up, they don't care about the United States. They just want to say a bunch of bullshit like, well, colonialism, imperialism, all this, like all these stupid ass left-wing buzz terms. It's like, all right, dude, look, you want to go ahead and complain and say Israel's a colonial apartheid imperial state? Fine. It is true. They are doing colonization in today's day and age. But the reality is the reason why the United States is as powerful as it is and we have the opportunities that we have is because of colonialism. It's a dark part of our history. It's there. It is what it is.
It's like every country is guilty of it.
And every world power has
big
it. So
power.
it is what it is. Like we're not going to change that. But the reason why we have so much prosperity is because of what we've done in the past and how we run our country. So it's like leftists try to like say, oh, we're ashamed for our past and everything else like that. Let's rewrite it. Well, you benefit off of what we have right now. Like the fact that a lot of these socialists have the freedom of speech that they have to say the retarded shit that they say because it's the United States. Whereas like we and you couldn't have this conversation in a lot of these Muslim countries. Let's be honest. We can't have this conversation in any of these Muslim countries.
But it's not just the left wing. The right wing is just as complicit. The FBI gets tagged every day from a right wing commentator. Laura Loomer tries to get me arrested, tries to get me investigated every day because I'm saying things that are pro-Islam. They want it to get to that point. They want.
You can want it all she wants, but you have been arrested because you have the First Amendment.
You're not hearing what I'm saying. The right wing is as complicit in un-American behavior as the left wing. When they are now trying to push legislation where criticizing Israel is illegal, where they're trying to recensor social media, where they're selling it over to Israelis, where they
are you quantifying Laura Loomer as the right wing?
Not just that. The right wing also abandoned the idea of freedom of religion. The freedoms that we could practice our religion here, given to us by the founding fathers, the right wing are now saying that should be taken away. That this should be.
Who's saying that? SNEAKO, help me. What are you talking about?
Bro, come down to Miami, bro. You've been in New York too long, nigga.
Dude, are you kidding me? You haven't heard people on the right wing say that Muslims shouldn't. We can go back to this. Like Muslims shouldn't pray in Times Square. This is a Christian nation that we don't have freedom of religion. Freedom is also the freedom to practice your faith.
Be careful. So be careful. You just said right wingers are trying to take away freedom of religion. That's very different to praying in Times Square. So if that's what you mean, okay. But that's like.
Did you see the debate with the far right, the far right young fascists that debated Mehdi Hasan Jubilee? And this is representative of a major faction in the new right wing that doesn't like MAGA. They want a Christian ethno state. They want Christian only values. They want to rewrite the Constitution. They want like
whoever they is, they're not gonna get that.
Just like the left wing, just like the left wing is not going to be able to abolish prisons. My point is, people on the right are as complicit as un-American,
though, and they're not censored. This is what you're missing, yo, bro. How many times have you been censored for right wing views? A million, like literally a million. How many times has Hassan Piker been censored, and he's even farther left than you are right? He still has a platform, which is why he can platform all of these fucking Democratic people who are running for Congress, and they win votes. Hassan Piker just told his audience of 10,000 to call local people to vote for this Ethiopian lady who just won a congressional seat, who's also on board with the DSA campaign of abolishing borders and getting rid of ICE and stuff. So exactly what is the issue? It's the censorship that doesn't actually come from the right.
Well, he just got banned from the UK. He just got the UK banned him. They tried to call him a terrorist. The MAGA,
America,
the MAGA, the MAGA right. Hold on.
SNEAKO.
Real quick. Also, the MAGA administration they just issued a subpoena. They just tried to get him investigated because he was giving water to Cuba. This was from the right wing too, and this is
but okay.
But he's not censored.
Now listen.
They want to jail him. They want to put him in jail.
SNEAKO, please let me bring you to reality. Bro, if this happened to you, Hassan Piker would be throwing a party, nigga.
And that's wrong. Riyad, that's my...
No,
I agree.
No. Now I'm going to fight on this. Fuck that. We treat them how they treat us, bro.
No, that's stupid.
And by the way, he's dealing with Cuba, which is a foreign adversary that trades our intelligence with Russia. Russia's our number one enemy. We should have sympathy for him? Fuck that nigga. No,
Russia's not our number one enemy. Israel is. And also,
Russia's actually the greatest threat to the United States right now.
Probably China in a long term. It's probably China in a long term.
It's China and Russia. It's China and Russia.
Okay.
Yeah, Cuba's still
but Riyad, that's the problem.
Cuba's in bed with both of those countries, and Hassan Piker has so much love for Cuba. So I'm just saying, bro,
but you don't fight what's wrong with what's wrong more. If you like, but he would do this to me, it's like that's not going to bring
Christianity turn the other cheek, nigga. We're Muslim, nigga. We fight back. Fuck that.
Right, but you fight you fight against injustice. You fight against the greater issue. You fight against
unjust. Because if you got arrested, he'd throw a party. Is he just? Is Hassan Piker just to the right?
Obviously not. He's probably.
So why are you just to him?
Because Hassan Piker is not the greatest evil. He's not the greatest threat to America, and he's not the greatest threat to me.
Bro, Hassan Piker shocked his fucking dog. He's evil. Hassan Piker is playing around with Cuba, and that's not in the interest of the United States, and they trade our intelligence with our greatest enemies. That's evil. How is he not evil? If this happened to you, he would be. I'm defending you.
I know. Dude, Riyad, I know.
He would jump for joy if this happened to you.
I know.
So listen, maybe you don't like the tyrannical aspect of it, but if this happened to you, the whole DSA would be so fuck them.
I know. The greatest evil is not the DSA. That's not the greatest issue. We know what the greatest issue is, and that's where our focus should be focused on. If we want to actually make a change, if we are constantly fighting the left over petty issues that don't solve anything, over personal grievances, no change will happen.
It's not petty though, bro. These people want you dead. Hassan Piker, bro. Okay, let me make something clear.
He got his ban on Twitch. It's that simple. Bro. He got his ban on Twitch.
You got to be better than them, bro. You have to be better than them. You have to be the bigger person if you want change. I think you got to be better.
Okay, we're better than them. Where if Hassan Piker got shot in the neck like Charlie Kirk, I would be very sympathetic and I would be horrified and I would condemn it. But, the left wingers don't do that because now they're doing prom transitions to the sound of him getting shot. Like, these are sick people, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? And by the way, I hated Charlie Kirk. I hated him. But even I didn't go that far. So all I'm saying is these people will stoop to new lows even if you are killed. Those aren't the same people we should show sympathy and or empathy for when they're being subpoenaed for playing with a foreign adversary.
Do you want to correct them?
I think that's fair.
Wait, hold on. Do you want them to come to the truth, or do you want to beat them?
I see SNEAKO's perspective.
No.
We got to value free speech, which, just so you know, SNEAKO, I actually said that it was bad that they subpoenaed him. I didn't like that.
I like that nigga up.
But understand that censorship is a leftist Jewish construction. That's what it is. It's the Labour Party that kept him out of the UK, by the way, the lefties. So it's always, when we talk about the Bolshevik Revolution, when they made anti-Semitism the first thing, it was leftist Jews. So censorship in of itself is a left-wing Jewish construct.
I mean, the right wing is employing a lot of these tactics now, trying to get people arrested, and
Trump is trying. Trump,
bro, they're doing the same thing.
I agree with you.
They're going after Ivy League students, talking about free Palestine.
Do you see?
This
is my point.
Trump too. I hate Trump.
And that's the greater point. I have to pray Fajr, but don't getting caught in the right-left paradigm is just going to perpetuate this endless cycle that only one nation benefits from. So if we want to perpetuate this and be in a battle, right, left, you're not going to make a change. If you want to make a change, you got to be.
And bro, I agree with you to some degree, but I think there's a threshold, and when the threshold is like somebody like, I won't chimp out again. I chimped out pretty hard. When the threshold is like Hassan Piker, I have to draw the line. I'm not stooping to that low. I will side with somebody else who's different than me, but doesn't hate me to that degree if they're anti-Israel.
And look,
I won't drop my standards that low. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think in theory it's a fantastic thing. Like the whole left-right paradigm is retarded. I agree with you, but what I'm saying is that those people over there will always ensure that there's a left-wing, right-wing paradigm because they don't want to be associated with us whatsoever. So we can go ahead and say, nah, we don't believe in this bullshit titles. They do though.
That's a defeatist mindset.
It's a realistic, pragmatic.
No, this is what I said earlier. This is like that. This is like that Christian shit. Like
that's a defeatist mindset.
You're doing that turn the cheek shit, nigga. No,
it's not turn. It's not. No, you don't. You have to fight the greatest evil. Like, look at the number one priority.
But you can't fight the greatest evil if you have smaller evils in front of you blocking from that.
But
you can't have a platform on Twitch to talk about Israel because Hassan Piker would cry every day about it.
The right wing wants you deported. The right wing wants you deported because you're black and Muslim.
Tucker Carlson wants me gone.
Oh my God.
Candace Owens wants me gone.
Bro.
Right wing.
He is now part of a new coalition. The MAGA right wing wants you deported.
What coalition? What coalition?
We just said this like 50 times. They're creating a new party that transcends that gets rid of that. The right wing are promoting movies.
That's not going to happen.
Ryad, I gotta go. But the right wing, they are all promoting a movie inspiring terrorists to go kill you. This is the right wing. You said, the left wants us killed. The right wing wants Muslims killed.
It's a faction of the right wing. That's a faction.
Bro, you're talking about the far right European niggas that are mad that Muslims are taking over their
Steven Crowder also. There's another. There's another one. There's another. Hold on. Wait. Ryad. There's another one. We don't need to mention it. That's also supporting and promoting this movie too.
Yeah, I don't think that he wants me deported though because I was born here. Like I was born here.
Yes, they do.
Bro, I don't think that.
Yes, they do. If they had their way, you'd be on a boat back to Sudan.
We're gonna go back to the same conversation we've had for the last 20 minutes. And I'm telling you,
Tucker Carlson is the biggest right winger in America.
That's what I'm saying. And Candace Owens, and they're all influencing the greatest mass of people. What I'm saying is being right wing does not mean you're just getting on your knees, sucking white dick, because there's nuance within every political party. And I think you agreed with that. And even on top of that, I think a lot of people on the right wing, if you really pay attention, are not always super anti-immigration. They're anti-mass migration. That's what Marco Rubio literally said today. And we don't like him, but he is representative of the right wing. Without immigration, this country would not be in the place it's in. You're blinking slowly, but you're not making any sense.
Because
you're saying that every
you keep saying I'm saying because you keep saying right wing.
True. You're getting like emotionally and culturally.
No, I'm not.
I've been gone, Ryad.
They do.
Want you gone? No,
they do.
Not true.
Patrick Bet-David wants you gone. Steven Crowder wants you gone. The other one too wants you gone. They don't want you in this country.
They're all bro.
The biggest right winger in America. SNEAKO, the biggest right winger in America fucks with us, bro. So you
Tucker Carlson
want to talk on.
Wait, hold on. Tucker Carlson is now getting called an Islamic jihadist by people we both know is getting called a third worldist, and they're saying that he's sympathizing with Muslims and he's now a liberal Democrat. They are trying to excommunicate him from this paradigm because they want they want a populist movement. He is to the vast majority of them, they're trying to kick him out of that. So let go of these labels, bro. It doesn't help you.
Bro, no, you're completely omitting these people. Tucker Carlson is popular as fuck.
Yeah.
The talking heads.
Also, Candace Owens is very popular. All these people that don't want us deported, SNEAKO, like me and you, the brown people, they're also very popular and they entertain right-wing talking points. You're talking about culture vulture slop. The Somalians are dumb. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the representatives that are against Israel and understand what America is, and a part of America's culture and identity in the modern day, what supports its economic standing is immigration. But it's now gone to a point where there's diminishing gains.
So do them a favor.
Maybe we should just keep the border closed and not allow people to have kids here and allow their kids to have American citizenship as well, which undermines you. How is that sucking white dick?
I'm saying do them a favor, people like Candace Tucker and Massey, and stop calling them right wing because that doesn't help them. If you actually want to promote them, you are keeping them audience captured by Zios and by warmongers and neocons. You're not doing them any help. You're not doing them any favors. You're not helping them out.
Maybe Thomas Massey is like a centrist, but they're
right. What do we call them then?
What do we call this? What do we
call them then?
They're telling the truth.
Dying rose emoji, bro. All right, then I guess telling the truth is what? What is telling the truth?
They're correct about the influence in our country.
I'm saying, like, what is that representative of? I think they're fairly moderate. Right? You know what, bro? Fine, whatever. I just don't.
But you're saying it now. You see why? Like, don't put them in.
No, because if I say right wing, you're going to do the same thing again. I think they're right wing.
Do you think it helps them? Do you think these like perpetuate?
It absolutely does, bro. I think it's more demonized to say you're left wing, because when you say you're left wing, that means
I'm saying both. Mutilation. I'm saying both. Don't say these like both. Keep you captured.
That's just not realistic, SNEAKO. Like
it actually is. It actually is.
Political parties. We can't play in this like fairy tale. This is reality.
And those two
Republicans and Democrats, they have different economic interests, social interests. There are things that differentiate people typically within two different segments, which is why we created these terms. Yeah, I get it. It's a little bit goyish. I get it. It's a little bit matrixy, but you got to play the game a little bit so you can get the right person in office or the right people in power. And so the Democrats are not playing your game. The DSA niggas, they're not playing that's not a political party. No, they're saying we're far left socialists. Fuck these other niggas. We're going to take over and immigrants are coming in. They're playing the game.
And so are you.
They are playing the game.
And so are you. Don't play the game they want you to play. If they want you to be in this right-left trap, don't play it.
The niggas playing the game are winning, twin. They're winning.
And you are not going to beat it by continuing.
They're running your city. The people playing the game are running your city.
Right. Look.
Jumping in pools with suits and walking around the pride flag.
Actually, no, they're not. Actually, no, they're not. The left has been far more successful at creating a new system because the Democrats are all panicking right now because the DSA took over. They're scared.
You're making my point. The Democrats are capitulating for the DSA because they have so much motion, but they still call themselves DSA, Democratic Socialists of America.
But they won't call them. They don't call themselves left wing. They won't call themselves Democrats. They let go of that right left paradigm and focus on the.
I'm pretty sure Zohran Mamdani said I'm a left wing socialist several times during his mayoral debates. I'm pretty sure he said that verbatim.
They all say it with their chest.
I've never heard him say that. I've never heard him say that.
They all say it with their chest now. It used to be frowned upon to call yourself a socialist in the Democrat Party. Now they all say it 10 toes down with their fucking chest. I'm a democratic socialist. They literally say it.
Yeah. Which is creating a new. It's no longer bipartisan. There's a new system. There's a new system that exists. So just don't play. If they want you to be stuck in that matrix loop, which you admitted exists, don't play by it. Let go the same way they did. It's very successful.
You won't win if you step outside of it. You won't.
Well, but the most popular party is that's not true. The most popular commentators, Candace Tucker, they stepped out, and you're trying to drag them back in. As soon as I get out, you try to pull them back in. They finally let go of the GOP. Tucker said he's no longer a Republican loyalist. He broke free from that matrix, and you want come back.
Right winger. He's still a right winger though. Okay, he broke out of a right wing party. Cool. He broke out of a right wing party. He created another right wing party.
Go ask Tucker about Democrats right now. He would literally, I don't support Democrats. I could never support a Democrat. He would literally go against it so hard. And he would say, if anything, I'm Republican. I just don't support this MAGA campaign.
Do you think that's what let me see what you think. Do you think Tucker Carlson has more in common right now with Donald Trump? Well, hold on. Think about this. Does Tucker Carlson have more in common with Hassan Piker or Donald Trump?
I'm still laughing about that.
Donald Trump.
Does Tucker Carlson
he has more in common with Donald Trump? Okay, Ryad, what do you think?
Does Tucker Carlson have more in common with Donald Trump or who? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Right now, his rhetoric, even though some people say he's going to vote for Vance, and I hope that's not true. I really hope he sees that. Does he have more in common? Does Tucker have more in common with Trump or Hassan Piker?
Trump.
Like what?
A million, dude.
Like what?
Dude, a million.
Like what?
Bro, anti-immigration. He's not in support of LGBTQ.
Trump's pro-immigration. Trump's pro-immigration.
Trump is not pro-immigration. What are you talking about?
Absolutely. He's bringing more H-1B programs. Yes. Tons of H-1B. His appointed justice just allowed birthright citizenship.
Okay, are you trying to really say that Tucker Carlson is closer to Hassan Piker? I really want to make sure. Are you being intellectually honest about this?
He's not a neocon. He's criticizing Israel. He's against AIPAC.
Anti-Israel.
What's the most
all anti-Israel?
Right. What's the most important issue right now in America?
It can arguably be anti-Israel and also these leftists that want you dead. You can
don't say two
because if you don't have a voice to spread the message, then what's the good? What's the good?
Myron,
the same people we're talking about don't want you to have a voice.
Myron, that's so you say Tucker is closer to Hassan politically than Donald Trump. That's
absolutely. Dude, it's not even close. Absolutely.
Tucker still texts Trump. Tucker is
Hassan is for open borders. Hassan is for letting aliens that are here have expedited process to becoming citizens. Hassan is for gay rights and LGBTQ and all that other stuff.
So is Trump.
Hassan is for feminism.
So is Trump.
Hassan is for all
So is Trump.
the furthest. No, he's not.
Trump used the pretext of the war. Hamas throws the gays off roof. He spoke on the Jake Paul podcast, the first podcast he did after the Iran war started. He said, "I'm actually pro-gay." He didn't do any. He just used that for populist rhetoric. He's allowing what's Caitlyn Jenner to be part of his movement. He's not. It has nothing to do with being pro. What has he changed for mutilation? Myron, what's the most?
Okay. Hassan is even further than that. Hassan believes in the whole tranny bullshit. Kids can transition. He believes in all that shit. He with him, it's like no.
Those are minor issues.
You want like progressives, like with them, they look at it like as long as I'm not hurting anyone, I should be able to do it. That's their rhetoric. Like with Donald Trump, at least there's a line. Like he'll be like, okay, you want to be gay? Fine. Yo, just don't ask, don't tell. You're not going to transition kids. We're not going to have mass immigration. We're not going to have open borders. Hassan's for all that. So like the thing
I don't even believe in God.
No, he grew up Muslim, but I think
Hassan's Muslim. Hassan's Muslim. But Myron, these are minor issues.
Closer to Trump than he is to Hassan. Not even close. The biggest issue that Tucker has with Trump is foreign policy. That's the main distinguishing line. Everything else they're in line with.
What's the most important issue? What comes at the top?
Depends on for me personally, everyone's issue is different.
What do you think is the most important issue?
But okay, SNEAKO, if
just answer why are you not letting him answer the question? Myron, what's the most important issue?
Because
I voted for when I voted, for me it was foreign policy and immigration. I didn't want any wars. Those were my top two things.
You don't want wars. Hassan and Tucker are on the same side on this issue. The most important one.
The issue they're on the same side of.
Nico, you're grabbing two buildings and trying so hard to pull them together.
I'm not.
Like I'm saying is not supporting you.
No, I'm not.
The anti-Israel rhetoric is one piece.
Just one.
It's the most important.
As crazy as it is
it not at the top? Is that at the top?
Just because it's the most important doesn't mean we need to capitulate to people.
I'm not saying I didn't say that capitulate, but why are you making up this Charlie Kirk narrative? I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Who's speaking for good? But you're implying it by aligning Tucker Carlson with Hassan Piker. Why else would you align them? Because you're trying to imply that these people actually serve some sort of benefit.
I'm not implying that. You're just making this up. You're just making this up. You're literally just making up stuff that I didn't say at all. I'm saying.
So exactly why else would you draw out that comparison? Enlighten me.
Because you're proving my point that people get separated by culture war issues that never change. Prisons are not going to get abolished. Nothing changing with LGBT. Nothing changing with these minor transgender bathroom issues.
Let me say something.
These are unimportant because nothing actually gets changed with them. The most important issue that people can actually vote for, not really at all. And Trump is not, in a lot, you can make a very strong case that Trump is not actually anti-immigration. The point is the most important issue is where people should align.
You want to talk about other policies, bro? They literally differ on every single point except for foreign policy when it comes to Israel. Everything, like Hassan is obviously a democratic socialist. Tucker Carlson is a hardcore fucking capitalist. Like they're different on virtually everything, bro.
Not only that,
agree. The wars in the Middle East are
also a war on Muslims. It's a spiritual war. They're using the Crusader rhetoric. Hassan is sympathetic to Muslims and Tucker.
It's the only thing that they agree on. Everything else, they're completely different, dude. So,
but you both agree the most important issue, correct?
Remember, you asked this question is he more aligned with Donald Trump or Hassan? We said, whoa, he's way more aligned with Donald Trump. The only thing they're not aligned with is the Israel shit.
SNEAKO,
which is at the top.
Again, I'm trying to tell you, you're being unfair to yourself because you're saying, okay, I'll slightly capitulate. I'll say fuck it. I'll say fuck it. You know what? Hassan Piker, let me shake your hand. You're anti-Israel. Fuck it. This is for the greater good. I don't disagree. I don't agree with you on everything. Let me shake your hand. But do you think he would do that with you?
I didn't, bro, dude. I don't know why you're saying this. That's not
what you're saying.
No, it's no,
bro,
no.
You're
no,
literally doing Hassan Piker apologetics right now.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all.
Liken him to someone like Tucker Carlson who's getting everything right in your perspective. Why liken those two?
Because letting yourself.
You're drawing them closer than Tucker Carlson to the administration.
Do you want me to respond?
He's like
locked
in with Vance.
Okay.
So what sense does this
make? The locked in with Vance thing, I hope that's not true and that there's a valid argument there. But my point is,
I'm not going to lie, it's true, but go ahead.
Don't get trapped with culture war issues that they don't really care about and that they use for populist rhetoric. This is how we get captured in this matrix that stays here forever and that supports the same system. The most important issue is what we need to focus on, not minor differences that never get changed. That's the point.
Okay, I agree. SNEAKO, if there was let me agree with a caveat. if there was no anti-Israel rhetoric at all coming from people who are more aligned with right-wing politics, which I think are right-wingers, then, and it was 2010 where no one was aware of this issue, then I'd say, okay, you know what? Maybe worth it. It's just not necessary in 2026. Everybody fucking hates Israel. They're doing polling and research. Most Americans sympathize with Palestinians over Israelis. Do we need to go this far and liken these niggas to the people that actually think like us in so that we can get this anti-Israel politician and then an open border? Like, even if they can't do it, this is what they want. And so what can do? They can probably censor you, make your life harder. That's just not worth it. I don't see the fair deal in that.
And they never want to work with us, bro. Hassan will never sit down with someone like me or you.
What I said, he would shoot you in your face if he could.
Yeah.
He hates you. He literally hates you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to go pray. Hopefully some of this stuff made some sense. Appreciate you guys. Interesting discussion as always. Assalamu alaikum.
It's always a good discussion. I think we're discussing semantics, honestly, but I think we're aligned on a lot of different things. Maybe not economically, but that's all good. It's a good discussion regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting off completely, or are you just gonna pray and come back on?
I need to make Gozel. I need to take a shower. Or how much longer are you gonna stay on?
I'll be on for a bit. I don't know. Me and my brother still got to cover Ukraine, Russia, so we didn't do that yet.
I will do. So I will do. No, I'm gonna just hit Fudge really quick. I'll be back. Go ahead, start up Ukraine, Russia.
All right. Okay. Then I'll just. All right. Then I'll. If you guys are all good, well, I don't want to hold you guys on. If you guys were gonna just like pray and go to sleep or whatever, y'all do what you guys gonna do. I'm gonna stay on.
Then let's do Ukraine, Russia tomorrow.
We can. I won't do it today. Then I won't do it tonight.
Or no, do it tonight. I still have.
No. We'll cover it tomorrow. We'll cover it tomorrow together. Don't worry about it. It's no rush.
All right, SNEAKO is good stuff. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. Peace.
Just later, guys.
Good night.
All right. Oof. Dude, it's hard to get through to people. Like, people really get caught in this right-left slot, bro. Who do you do a poll real quick before I got to make? How do you pronounce it? Guzzle? You never listen. I listen. He's saying like, oh, Hassan wants to kill you. This stuff. It's like tribalism. Yeah, I know. They don't seem to understand. Like, oh, the left wants to kill you, nigga. The right wants to kill you, bro. The right wing wants to kill you. Like they made that perfectly clear, bro. They made it perfectly clear, bro. Anyway, both sides made good points. Yeah, but they don't seem to understand that the right wing just made it clear. Like, if this major separation between the left and the right is that the left wing wants to kill you, nigga, the right wants to kill you. You're Muslim. Elon Musk is one of the major champions of the right wing. He just put out a movie just promoted a movie inspiring terrorists to go kill Muslim immigrants. Let's go see. There's a poll right there. You're allying more with the left? I'm not. That's retarded. You think I'm allying more with the left because the majority of people in this are traditionally right-wing conservative, but they don't seem to realize that the right-wing conservative values, they're not what you think they are. I appreciate you guys. Be back tomorrow. Long of love, speech. Have a great night.